Chapter 983. Once the sorcerer god submitted, the matter of saving the war king naturally went smoothly. Ning Fan heaved a sigh of relief and kept the jade slip of Sha Di and Shi Qi. It was fine if he didn't use the origin energy, but it would be best if he didn't use this jade strip. This was the second jade slip he had left. It could summon 16 immortal king puppets. This was also the second life-saving item that Sha Di gave him. As for the third life-saving item, the jade slip that Sha Di personally descended, he had already kept it away. Even if he had to save the Battle King this time, he did not plan to use it at all. Sha Di, if the mature 9 raccoon's soul blood could delay the Tao extinguishment, it should be useful to the Sha Di as well. The relationship between Ning Fan and Ancient Chaos was like that of a master and disciple. As for Sha Di, he would definitely repay his kindness. Even though he was not as good as Ancient Chaos, he still valued him a lot. It was as if he could see the old man Feng Zhu who had risked everything to protect the descendants of the Big Dipper sect. He recalled the promise he had made to the old man in order to ask for the longevity jade to save someone. If 9 Fox could really enter adulthood. Just as this thought appeared in his mind, the feeling of the renunciation space tribulation appeared once again. That feeling of descent was getting closer. When others gave up their emptiness, they had to give up their obsessions. However, he walked a completely different path. He constantly carried the burdens that others disdained. In those burdens, there was kindness, affection, righteousness, and warmth that he had experienced time and time again since he started cultivating. Abandoning obsession is the method of renouncing emptiness recognized by the heavens. Can it be seen as young? Reluctance to give up stubbornness was the path of stubbornness that the heavens did not approve of. Could it be? After the trip to the Wooden Island, Ning Fan's understanding of the Tao had become completely different and had risen to a whole new level. Looking at the great Tao from the perspective of Yin and Yang. As it turned out, adhering cultivator had always stood on the dark side, the side that the heavens didn't approve of. However, so what if the heavens don't approve of it? It's enough for me to approve of this path. I want to abandon my emptiness and carry my obsession to walk on the Yin of the world. If a mortal can reach extreme Yin. Thump. 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 It was the sound of Ning Fan's heart thumping wildly. At this moment, with just a thought, Ning Fan actually triggered the samsara void tribulation which was showing signs of dissipating for the first time. The first heart tribulation of shedding emptiness had arrived. Why does the tribulation have to descend at this time? Ning Fan was a little speechless. He still wanted to save the combat king but the void renunciation tribulation just happened to come. What should he do now? Could it be that this was what mortals meant when they said that a flower planted intentionally doesn't bloom, but a willow planted unintentionally grows into shade? However, what Ning Fan did not know was that the reason why he could cause the heart tribulation to descend was because he had recognized the origin of the void abandoning Tao. This point was just like a trigger. The reason why Ning Fan came to save the Battle King was to fulfill his promise. He had actually obtained the opportunity for the first heart tribulation to descend. Thus, the heart tribulation truly descended. It was a coincidence, but it was also a necessity after completing the Battle King's karma. This heart tribulation can still be suppressed. Let's save the Battle King first. Ning Fan took a deep breath and forcefully suppressed the wild pounding of his heart. Then, he began to treat the combat king once again. This time, the sorcerer god had already surrendered, and the entire treatment process was not disturbed by any external objects. It was very smooth, and after only half a day, the warlord's treatment was completed. The battle monarch's originally lifeless body was recovering its vitality continuously. The spirit chi in the entire Dao Marrow mystic realm surged into the battle monarch's body. A powerful aura gradually appeared on the battle monarch's body. Eternal Third Tribulation. It was a powerful aura that only a 3 tribulation celestial king could possess. Moreover, the aura continued to rise. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, it broke through the peak of the third tribulation and reached the fourth tribulation. He actually broke through. The war monarch, who had been in slumber for 45 million years, had suddenly broken through to the fourth eternal tribulation. Ning Fan was slightly surprised, but he quickly understood the reason behind it. Luo Shizhong was extremely obedient. As soon as the battle monarch fell into slumber, he had specially arranged a Dao Marrow secret realm to continuously produce Dao Marrow to nourish the battle monarch's body. Over the years, it was unknown how much Dao Marrow the battle monarch had absorbed. Although he had yet to awaken, his cultivation had increased. It was reasonable that he had broken through the fourth eternal tribulation. If that was all, it would not be enough to surprise Ning Fan. However, very soon, his expression changed again. It was because the battle sovereign's aura force was still rising after breaking through to the fourth tribulation realm. It rose all the way to the peak of the fourth tribulation realm and broke through the bottleneck of the fifth tribulation realm. The immortal king of the fifth eternal tribulation. Moreover, his aura continued to rise, and in the end, it actually rose to the peak celestial king realm before it stopped growing. Finally, you're awake. Are you the one who saved me? The battle monarch's physical body suddenly stood up. It was the first time he had opened his eyes in 45 million years. His gaze was wild and domineering. However, it also carried the heroic spirit that the cultivators of the Eastern Heaven usually had. It gave people the feeling that he was a hero of the current era. At the moment when he turned to look at Ning Fan, his gaze became much gentler. It was filled with gratitude. Even though the battle monarch was in slumber, he could still vaguely sense what was happening in the outside world. He could vaguely remember that it was this white-robed young man who saved him. However, he could not remember the specific process. If Ning Fan saved him, no matter if Ning Fan was good or evil, he would still be Luo Ho's benefactor. As long as Ning Fan did not go against his principles, he, Luo Ho, would owe Ning Fan his life. I'm not the only one who saved Senior. Senior Luo Shi and a few other fellow Taoists also helped a lot. Even the cultivators of the Luo clan also contributed a lot. Ning Fan answered honestly. Little friend, you don't have to be humble. Even though I'm in slumber and I don't know the details, you're the one who subdued my sorcerer god. Am I right? Luo Ho slowly landed at the center of the altar and looked at the sorcerer god who was standing respectfully at the side with deep meaning. He had vaguely sensed what was happening in the outside world. Ning Fan was the one who contributed the most to his rescue. There was no doubt about this. The others naturally had to thank him as well. However, Ning Fan was definitely the one who contributed the most. This was indisputable. Luo Ho was a straightforward person. He did not like to talk nonsense. He had already remembered Ning Fan's kindness of saving his life. He would definitely repay him in the future. Ning Fan nodded his head. The sorcerer god was indeed subdued by him. He did not have to deny this. Luo Ho, you've finally woken up. The sorcerer god looked at the sorcerer god with a complicated expression and sighed. If Luo Ho did not wake up, the sorcerer god could devour him at the moment when he was on the verge of death. This was something that Luo Shi and the others did not know. Without Ning Fan's help, the War King would be devoured by the sorcerer god at his weakest moment in the near future. Unfortunately, Ning Fan had intervened in this matter. The sorcerer god could not devour Luo Ho and could only be controlled by Luo Ho again. You are my sorcerer god. Assimilate with me. I have been sleeping for a very long time, but I have also accumulated my strength for a very long time. If I assimilate with you, I have the confidence to break through to the immortal emperor realm in an extremely short period of time. I am you and you are me. Why must we be separated? Come back. Come with me and dominate the eastern heavens. Luo Ho said again. All right. I agree to become one with you. From today onwards, there will be no war king or sorcerer god. There will only be battle shaman Luo Ho. The sorcerer god sighed. He had already been defeated by Ning Fan and promised Ning Fan to submit to him. At this moment, he would not reject Luo Ho's suggestion anymore. The sorcerer god walked towards Luo Ho step by step. Luo Ho also walked towards the sorcerer god with large strides. At the moment when the two of them collided with each other, they merged into one amidst a burst of dazzling light. Battle shaman Luo Ho had completely awakened. He still had the appearance of a black-faced burly man and Luo Ho was still in the lead. However, at this moment, his cultivation base skyrocketed once again. When the cultivation bases of two peak immortal kings overlapped, they immediately had the aura force of a quasi-emperor realm expert. A quasi-emperor was an existence that could truly become an immortal emperor after going through the 9-5 tribulation and completing the integration of the emperor chi into his soul. The amount of magic power he possessed was already similar to that of a 6th tribulation immortal emperor. The only difference was that he had a golden primordial spirit that was integrated with the emperor chi. The Battle King has actually taken half a step into the immortal emperor realm and is very close to becoming an immortal emperor. Ning Fan was greatly moved. The Battle King, who was in a coma and on the verge of death, had his cultivation base skyrocketing as soon as he woke up and was very close to becoming an immortal emperor. If this matter were to spread out, it would probably cause a huge commotion in the eastern heavens. I have been sleeping for 45 million years. During these years, I have accumulated quite a lot of heavenly tribulations. Of course, there is also the 9-5 tribulation to break through to the immortal emperor realm. However, I haven't fully prepared for it yet. Thus, I can only put this 9-5 tribulation aside for the time being. I have benefited a lot from my slumber this time. Now, it seems like I owe Sun Luo a great deal of karma. In the past, he must have noticed that I, the sorcerer god, had taken the wrong path in my cultivation. That was why he sealed my heavenly tribulations at a great price when he destroyed my cultivation base, allowing me to sleep peacefully for tens of millions of years. Otherwise, Luo Shi and the others wouldn't be able to withstand these heavenly tribulations which were getting stronger and stronger. Moreover, if I didn't sleep this time, the sorcerer god and I wouldn't be as strong as we are today. Sun Luo, oh Sun Luo, what kind of person are you? You were the one who brought disaster to the godly void pavilion in the past. Now, you are also the one who helped me to have the chance to become an immortal emperor. Luo Ho sighed with emotion. If Ning Fan was the one who was most grateful to him for waking up, then the one who was most grateful to him for having a chance to break through to the immortal emperor realm was Sun Luo. Sun Luo, Sun Luo. Sun Luo is already dead. Once one's cultivation base enters the quasi-emperor realm, one would be able to sense many things that were related to oneself to a certain extent. Sun Luo is actually dead, it seems like I can't repay this kindness anymore. No, it's not that I can't repay it. Luo Ho suddenly came to a realization. In the past, Sun Luo stubbornly went his own way and offended the dark race for a woman. He even made the entire world his enemy. He did not even hesitate to implicate his master and the godly void pavilion. Sun Luo must have felt guilty about it. This guilt seemed to be repaid to him, Luo Ho. The reason why Sun Luo helped him to become an immortal emperor was because he wanted to add a peerless immortal emperor to the godly void pavilion to make up for the regret of not being able to protect the godly void pavilion on behalf of his master. Luo Ho owed Sun Luo a huge amount of karma. If he wants to repay it, the best way is to replace Sun Luo and protect the godly void pavilion for the rest of his life, I see. So when you destroyed my cultivation base in the past, you already calculated this point. Forget it. You're the one who helped me to become an immortal emperor after all. If protecting the godly void pavilion is your last wish, then I, Luo Ho, will bear this last wish for you. In this way, the karma between him and Sun Luo was settled. Neither of them owed each other anything. As for Ning Fan, little friend, you've saved my life. I should thank you generously. However, I still have a heavenly tribulation to transcend at this moment. It's inconvenient for me to talk to you. Can you wait for a moment? After I transcend the tribulation, we'll talk in detail. Luo Ho cupped his fists at Ning Fan and said with a serious expression. Senior, please do as you wish. I also have some urgent matters to attend to. I must go into seclusion immediately. What Ning Fan was referring to was naturally the renunciation void tribulation that he had painstakingly suppressed. He had been suppressing this heart tribulation for half a day. At this moment, his heart was beating wildly and it was difficult for him to suppress it any longer. He had already reached his limit. He must immediately go into seclusion to transcend the tribulation. If it wasn't because of this, he would be very willing to see how Luo Ho transcended the major and minor heavenly tribulations. Judging from Luo Ho's tone, it was the major and minor heavenly tribulations that had accumulated for 45 million years. According to the ancient cultivators, there would be a minor heavenly tribulation every 900 years and a major heavenly tribulation every 9,000 years. Luo Ho would at least have to go through 50,000 minor heavenly tribulations and 5,000 major heavenly tribulations. One should know that the power of the major and minor heavenly tribulations of cultivators would grow stronger each time. Ning Fan really wanted to see how Luo Ho would transcend so many heavenly tribulations. It would certainly be a spectacular scene. Unfortunately, he was also very busy. Thus, Ning Fan temporarily left the Dao Mero secret realm and returned to the outside world. The Battle King, Luo Ho, stayed in the Dao Mero secret realm to transcend his tribulation. As soon as he returned to the outside world, Luo Shi and the others immediately surrounded him and asked about the progress of the matter. Lu Feng, Old Wu, and Yun Lei who were severely injured had only slightly suppressed their injuries. They were still waiting for Ning Fan's news outside the secret realm. Of course, it was because they were concerned about the progress of the matter. Ning Fan did not tell them about the process of subduing the witch god in detail. He only told them that he had successfully saved the Battle King and that the latter was currently transcending his tribulation in the secret realm. The power of the heavenly tribulation that had accumulated for tens of millions of years was not to be underestimated. Ning Fan told Luo Shi and the others not to enter the secret realm to observe the tribulation in case they were affected by it. After that, Ning Fan became a hands-off person and went into seclusion in the profound Yin world. He had fulfilled his promise to the Luo clan. The Battle King had been saved. The remaining matters would be handled by the Luo clan. As soon as they heard that Luo Ho had awakened and was transcending the heavenly tribulation that had accumulated for tens of millions of years, Luo Shi and the other cultivators who had yet to attain the eternal ancient realm certainly did not dare to enter the secret realm to observe the tribulation. On the other hand, the eyes of Lv Feng, Old Wu, and Yun Lei lit up. Without much hesitation, they joined hands and entered the secret realm to observe the Battle King's tribulation. Being able to observe the tribulation of an immortal king who had accumulated his heavenly tribulation for tens of millions of years was an extremely rare opportunity. Perhaps the three of them would be able to gain some insights from it. Compared to gaining insights, the matter of recuperating in seclusion could be postponed for the time being. It would not be too late for them to recuperate after watching the Battle King's tribulation. Old Wu, the loyal servant, even took out a recording jade slip of an extremely high grade, preparing to record the details of the Battle King's tribulation for Ning Fan. Since his master had urgent matters to attend to, he had lost the opportunity to observe the tribulation. As the number one loyal servant in the world, he naturally had to do something for his master. In order to record the process of an immortal king's tribulation, the grade of the recording jade slip was definitely not ordinary. This jade slip required at least 100 billion Dao crystals to be bought in the eastern heaven. When Yun Lei and the others saw that Old Wu was willing to spend so much just to let their master watch the recording of the immortal king's tribulation, they were filled with mixed emotions and gave Old Wu a very negative evaluation. Old Wu is truly a loyal servant. This person's loyalty is as bright as the sun and the moon. It has been passed down from ancient times. If Ning Fan heard old Wu's evaluation, he would certainly be speechless. If Luo Shi is said to be a loyal servant, he would agree. However, if old Wu is said to be a loyal servant, he could only chuckle. Unfortunately, Ning Fan was destined not to hear this evaluation. As soon as he entered the profound Yin West world, Ning Fan released the suppression of the samsara void tribulation. At the moment when he released the heart tribulation, the shadows of the four true bridges immediately appeared in the sky. Below the four true bridges was a gurgling river. In the river, there was a very blurry reflection under the first true illusion bridge. Ning Fan's figure flashed and appeared on the first true illusion bridge. He held the railing and looked at the blurry reflection in the river. As the heart tribulation continued to deepen, those reflections gradually became clearer. They were the scenes of Ning Fan's promises that he had kept since he started cultivating the Tao. If Elder Ning promises to help the Hu clan 3 times, I am willing to condense a cultivation pill with all my cultivation base and give it to you, Elder, at the cost of not entering samsara. Initially, I was going to give this pill to Hu Ming. But it seems like he is still too young and can't take on such a great responsibility. Cultivation pill. You have done too much for the clan. I won't regret it. Elder Ning, just tell me, do you promise or not? Forget it. If I get the cultivation pill, I, Ning Fan, promise to help the Hu clan 3 times in my lifetime. This promise was when Ning Fan promised to protect the Hu clan of Yu country when he was still in the harmonious spirit realm. Later on, he really did do it. Hu Fengzi of the Hu clan was a distant memory. If it wasn't because he saw the past in the reflection, Ning Fan would have forgotten about the Hu clan, which was as small as a grain of rice. However, he couldn't forget Hu Fengzi. He couldn't forget that this person was willing to turn into ashes in order to protect his clan. He didn't want to enter samsara and condense a cultivation pill in exchange for Ning Fan's help to protect the Hu clan 3 times. It was Ning Fan's first time encountering such a person since he first started cultivating the Tao. He was actually willing to perish in order to protect others. Is it worth it? That year, Ning Fan asked himself the same question. The answer he got was, so what if it's worth it or not? The people of the world had long forgotten about Hu Fengzi. Even the clansmen that he risked his life to protect had forgotten about him. With the passage of time, perhaps no one in the current Rain world or the current Yu country could remember that there was once an insignificant cultivator who made a heroic decision to protect his clan. It was a heroic act. Rain was born from the sky and fell on the ground. It nourished the plants and nurtured living beings. The reason why it was called rain, not water, not river, not lake or sea, was because it had its own Tao. It nourished the plants and didn't ask for anything in return. It didn't matter if it was worth it or not. It was just the Tao, so it did it. Just because the Tao was like this, it could be duty-bound without hesitation. Ning Fan looked at the reflection in the river and at Hu Fengzi's reflection. He seemed to have understood something. The void abandoning 4 realms, for true bridges, for reflections under the 4 bridges. I'm afraid that I would be able to see a part of the reflection in the river every time I go through a heart tribulation. The cultivators of Duzhen repaired the bridge above the river. The cultivators of void abandoning cultivators repaired the shadow under the bridge. The so-called shadow was an obsession, an illusion and something that the heavens did not approve of. Hu Fengzi's Tao had once touched Ning Fan, causing the Tao that Ning Fan cultivated to carry some of Hu Fengzi's shadow unknowingly. The void abandoning cultivators had to abandon these irrelevant shadows in order to achieve a breakthrough. The first step was to see the reflection in the true illusion river. The second step was to abandon them. However, that was the path that ordinary cultivators had to take. It was not Ning Fan's path. Ning Fan already had some understanding of his own path of void abandoning cultivators. His path was different from others. It required persistence and perseverance. He did not say much and continued to look at the reflection in the river. Under the first bridge, more and more reflections appeared. The second reflection was the past when Ning Fan rampaged through the 9 divisions of the Lu clan. That year, he promised the Luo Yun demon sealer Lu Daochen to bury his master, Lu Wu. After that, he did it with the reputation of the Luo Yun demon sealer Lu Bei. Until now, Ning Fan could not forget the hunched back of the old man who was looking at his master's portrait. He was lonely but he had no regrets. The Luo Yun demon sealer Lu Daochen had spent his entire life just to complete one thing, and that was to bury his master, Lu Wu. In order to fulfill this wish, he would have no regrets even if he had to give up everything. He could be said to be a role model for all cultivators. The reflections that I saw during my first void abandoning cultivator's tribulation seemed to be related to promises. Ning Fan muttered to himself. The timing of his heart tribulation this time was the time when he fulfilled the promise of the Luo clan and remembered the promise he made to the slaughter palace. Could it be that the first heart tribulation of his void abandoning cultivator's tribulation would be related to the word promise? Then, the third reflection appeared in the river. It was the promise he made to kill the emperor, protect the descendants of the Big Dipper clan and the slaughter palace. The fourth reflection was the promise he made to the Luo clan. There were more reflections and all of them were promises he made to others. They ranged from small promises to pills and medicines to big promises that he would risk his life for them. Ning Fan had fulfilled most of the promises he made in his life. However, there were still many promises that he had yet to fulfill. Due to the limitation of his cultivation base and other factors, he could not fulfill them for the time being. However, every promise he made actually appeared in the river and became the reflection of the first true bridge. It also became the persistence in Ning Fan's heart. Ning Fan looked at the river below the true bridge. Gradually, he heard the voice of the vast great Tao from the endless river. That voice was very vague. It was actually the void-abandoning heavenly voice that cultivators would certainly hear when they undergo their heart tribulation. Turn back, turn back, turn back. For my Tao of immeasurable crossing, void-treading realm of 4 illusions and 4 extermination, solitary flame sect, in the river, a fiery light suddenly soared into the sky. That fiery light then turned into a withered old palm. It was so dry that it seemed like it would decay at any time. However, it gave Ning Fan a soul-stirring feeling. It was as if it could capture all the Tao principles of heaven and earth in that palm and restrict time and space. That withered palm did not seem to exist in reality. Instead, it existed in the reflection of the river. Along with the emergence of the reflection, it came into being. The reason why that withered palm appeared was not for any reason but to erase Ning Fan's reflection in the river. By erasing this reflection, Ning Fan's void-abandoning Tao would be achieved and he would be able to enter the early void-abandoning Tao. However, his Tao heart would be damaged and it would be difficult for him to achieve his Tao. It was because it was not a big deal for ordinary cultivators to abandon their obsessions. However, Ning Fan was different. He was not an ordinary cultivator. His Tao did not allow him to give up easily, especially when it came to giving up a promise that was related to his Tao heart. Ning Fan had a soul-stirring feeling that if he lets this withered palm erase his reflection in the river, his Tao heart would be changed. From then on, his temperament would change drastically and he would no longer be a person who kept his promises. What kind of withered palm is this? It actually has such a terrifying destructive power that can change one's Tao heart. Ning Fan had read through many ancient records on the Wooden Island. Among them, there were many records that recorded the void-abandoning tribulation. However, after going through all the records on the Wooden Island, Ning Fan did not find any record about the appearance of this withered palm. When other cultivators break through to the void-abandoning realm, they would also hear the void-abandoning heavenly voice. However, most of the content of the void-abandoning heavenly voice was simple and easy to understand. It directly pointed out the flaws in the cultivator's Tao and supplemented them. There had never been any void-abandoning heavenly voice that was as obscure and difficult to understand as Ning Fan's. There was also no one who would have a flaming withered palm appear and try to erase their reflection when they are going through their heart tribulation. All of a sudden, Ning Fan realized that this obscure void-abandoning heavenly voice and this extremely dangerous withered palm that could change a cultivator's Tao heart were highly likely to be the exclusive benefits of the persistent cultivators. Dangerous benefits. I must not let this withered palm erase the reflection in the river. Ning Fan's expression changed greatly. Without any hesitation, he directly activated the shadow of the god-exterminating giant and plunged into the river, directly rushing towards the withered palm. He would not allow anyone to change his Tao heart. He also did not need anyone to help him decide the path to break through to the void-abandoning realm. His path was not to give up. There was no need for him to erase the reflection in the river. This palm had ulterior motives. It wanted to destroy his reflection and destroy his Tao heart. Dream on. Bang! That a loud bang resounded. It was the collision of the god-exterminating giant and the withered palm in the reflection. Turn back, turn back, turn back. From my Tao of immeasurable crossing, void-treading realm of 4 illusions and 4 exterminations, solitary flame sect, after colliding with the god-exterminating giant, the withered palm did not suffer any damage at all. As for the body of the god-exterminating giant which was covered in golden flames, a dent was left on it. Even the golden flames were showing signs of extinguishing. Ning Fan, who was hiding inside the god-exterminating giant's body, coughed out a mouthful of blood. He was actually severely injured by the withered palm, causing his internal organs to feel as if they were on fire. The power of the withered palm was so terrifying that even the god-exterminating shield could not completely defend against it. After clashing with the withered palm, Ning Fan finally confirmed the origin of this withered palm. Sure enough, this withered palm contained the will of heaven. It was a withered palm that descended from the heavens to destroy Ning Fan's reflection in the river. It did not allow Ning Fan to walk on the path of abandoning the void-abandoning realm. Turn back, turn back, turn back. If you don't turn back, the heavens will force you to turn back. Heaven exterminating persistent cultivators, this path is blocked. Chapter 984. Ning Fan could feel a strong sense of rejection from the withered palm. The heaven extinguishes the path of obsession. Without a doubt, this withered palm was the heaven's obstruction to the path of obsession. Even Ning Fan, who possessed the god-exterminating shield, could barely withstand the power of the withered palm. Other ordinary obsession cultivators who wished to walk on the path of obsession would probably not be able to withstand the power of this palm. The power contained in this palm was far beyond Ning Fan's understanding. It was a difference in dimension. One should know that Ning Fan's current knowledge was top-notch even in the 4 heavens. However, he could not understand the profoundness of this palm. This was enough to explain the problem. The power of this palm was definitely at the 3rd step. It was even possible that it had entered the 4th step. It was undefeatable. Unless Ning Fan attained the 3rd step and became a sage realm expert and possessed the complete god-exterminating shield, he did not have the confidence to withstand this palm. With such a terrifying withered palm blocking his path, who in the world could pass this obstacle? This path was too difficult. Perhaps there was a glorious era of obsession in the history of the ancient era. However, in the current era of Dharma decline, the path of obsession might really be blocked by others. During the crossing truth stage, there was no real bridge on the true illusion river. How many people could build their own bridge on the river? At that time, Ning Fan had actually completed a magnificent feat. If it was someone else, perhaps they would have no choice but to give up on the path of obsession. When he abandoned the void, there was also the withered palm to stop him. This withered palm was like an insurmountable high wall, giving Ning Fan an unprecedented feeling of invincibility. It was impossible for him to forcefully defeat this withered palm. Turn back, turn back, turn back. From my Tao, immeasurable crossing, for illusions, for exterminations, void-treading realm, solitary flame sect, turn back, turn back, turn back. From my Tao, immeasurable crossing, bright sky palm, solitary flame sect, that withered palm heavily injured Ning Fan. Once again, it attacked the reflection in the river. It was determined to destroy it. Ning Fan tried to forcefully stop it, but a small portion of the reflection was still destroyed by the withered palm. As for himself, his injuries were further worsened. Even though the injuries on his body were severe, Ning Fan could still endure it with great difficulty. However, when he saw the reflection, he felt as if his Tao was forcefully torn apart by someone and a part of it was forcefully erased. Moreover, there was also a will of the heavens forcefully invading his body, destroying the Tao persistence in his body bit by bit and affecting his Tao heart. At this moment, there seemed to be another Ning Fan's voice in his heart, constantly advising him to obey the heaven's will, to cultivate the Yang Tao, to abandon his stubbornness and to convert. 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 You are me and I am you. Convert to Ming Qiong and convert to the solitary flame sect. Every time the other voice resounded in his mind, Ning Fan's Tao would crumble a lot. His Tao heart would also become numb bit by bit. Little by little, it would be guided to the path that was approved by heaven. Abandon, abandon, abandon. Abandon all my obsessions, abandon all the important people, and only convert to God is left, convert to the leaving ground solitary flame sect, let go of the past and cultivate the path of the next life. Quickly convert. From now on, once you enter the gate of emptiness, the past will be over. I will bestow upon you the light of creation, I am you and you are me. Follow me, and convert. That voice continued to penetrate his mind, causing Ning Fan's eyes to be filled with confusion for a moment. However, at the next moment, he suddenly raised his head and let out a roar. His roar was like the roar of a devil, forcefully suppressing that strange voice. His eyes were filled with flames of fury. What a strong bewitching power. However, it's not enough to tempt me to abandon my Tao. This path is blocked, huh? What if I insist on walking on it? I insist on being the only one who refuses to come to his senses in this era of Dharma decline. If the Tao can be changed from the true Tao, once this path is opened, I will cultivate my life. Since Ning Fan had embarked on the path of obsession, he would never turn back in this lifetime. This withered palm could suppress his cultivation base and erase his reflection. However, his Tao was the only thing that no one would be able to erase. This palm's divine power is heaven-defying. I am not a match for it. However, it doesn't mean that I can't hold on until the end. Ning Fan sharply noticed that the power of the second palm seemed to have weakened a lot compared to the first palm. That kind of weakening was just like how the power of the palm itself was limited. The more he used it, the lesser it would be. As the saying goes, there are 50 great Taos and 49 heavenly evolutions. There is still a chance of survival. Even though this withered palm has the intention to stop the birth of obsession, the heavens seem to have given Ning Fan a chance to cultivate obsession. The power of the withered palm was actually limited. If I take the attack of the withered palm head-on and receive it for a certain number of times, will I be able to exhaust the power of the withered palm and walk on the path of obsession? If it is an ordinary obsession cultivator who does not have a heaven-defying treasure like the God-exterminating shield and is not as bold as Ning Fan, perhaps they would have no choice but to follow the withered palm and walk on the path of obsession that the withered palm had designed for them. However, Ning Fan was different. His personality was like this. Once he has decided on something, he would do it with all his might regardless of the gains and losses, even if the possibility is small. Perhaps, he can really exhaust the power of the withered palm. The withered palm approached him once again, trying to destroy his reflection in the river. Ning Fan's eyes turned sharp and he made up his mind. He controlled the God-exterminating giant without any fear and clashed with the withered palm once again. Boom! The result was that Ning Fan spurted out blood for the third time and was sent flying by the withered palm. However, the battle intent in his eyes became even stronger. As expected, the power of the third palm strike was slightly weaker than the second one. Ning Fan took out a large number of healing pills and fed them to the god-exterminating giant in one go. Under such circumstances, he no longer had the time to slowly refine the medicinal power of the pills. He allowed the medicinal power to run rampant in his body, causing him excruciating pain. However, Ning Fan ignored it and actually became ruthless. If the withered palm is blocked, he would use his flesh and blood to break open the path. With a flip of his hand, the enlarged memory-severing Dao sword appeared in the giant's right hand. It was surrounded by the light of 4 different palm positions. Then, it rushed towards the withered palm and slashed at it. This was the first time Ning Fan took the initiative to attack the withered palm after taking the 3 palm strikes head-on. It was a defiance that he would not allow anyone to deprive him of his Dao. The withered palm did not have any emotions. It just sent out the 4th palm strike lightly. It seemed weak and powerless. However, the moment it came into contact with the Dao sword, it directly extinguished the light of the 4 different palm positions on the Dao sword. Then, a tremendous force pressed down on the god-exterminating giant and sent it flying with a single strike. The dimension was different. Even with the power of a sovereign Dao law, it could not leave a trace of injury on the withered palm. It could not even leave a scratch on it. If the power of a sovereign Dao law doesn't work, then I'll use my divine abilities. I'll use my bones as the mountain, my blood as the sea, my palm as the Dao and my Dao as the oblivion current. This is the oblivion current of Dao. Ning Fan flipped his hand inside the god-exterminating giant's body. The entire illusory river instantly turned into a great river of oblivion current, sweeping the withered palm to the bottom of the river. Calamity Technique. Taicang Jialing. For the first time, the withered palm sounded hesitant. It seemed to be extremely fearful of Tai Tsang's bloodline. However, the fear only lasted for a moment. The withered palm still flipped its hand and directly extinguished Ning Fan's oblivion current without suffering any damage. This was the 5th palm strike. As soon as the withered palm extinguished the oblivion current, it immediately pressed down on the god-exterminating giant gently. Ning Fan wanted to dodge it, but he realized that the god-exterminating giant had lost control. Its path of escape was blocked by an invisible force, blocking its path. Then, the palm fell. Bang! This palm directly pressed on the top of the god-exterminating giant's skull, extinguishing its golden flame body. Ning Fan, who was inside the god-exterminating giant, was sent flying while coughing out blood. Every time he took a few steps back, the rate of his physical body collapsing increased. If it wasn't for his strong willpower, his physical body would have already been destroyed. While he was flying backwards, Ning Fan forcefully consumed more healing pills. He did not care about the injuries on his body at all and forcefully summoned the god-exterminating giant once again. The 7th palm strike, the 8th palm strike, the 9th palm strike. Ning Fan's entire body was covered in blood. He had already become numb to the excruciating pain on his body. His eyes were filled with battle intent that was close to madness. He continuously controlled the god-exterminating giant to face the withered palm head-on. The 11th palm strike, the 12th palm strike, the 13th palm strike. Ning Fan had already consumed all of his healing pills. As for the other pills that were harmless or had a slight healing effect, he stuffed them all into his mouth to maintain his vitality and continue fighting the withered palm. The 20th palm strike, the 30th palm strike, the 40th palm strike. The power of the withered palm was getting weaker and weaker. Gradually, it could no longer break through the defense of the god-exterminating shield. Ning Fan's life chi was also very weak. However, he was still holding on with the willpower of Zhan Yin Yang. His willpower was so strong that even the heavens could not change it. He was like a spine that was slowly straightening up in front of the heavens. He continued to charge towards the withered palm time and time again. Attacking was always better than waiting for death to come. There had never been any cultivator who could resist so many attacks from the withered palm. Even if the heavens had given him a chance to live, there had never been a cultivator who could seize this chance in the age of Dharma decline. Only Ning Fan could do this. The 47th palm strike, the 48th palm strike and the 49th palm strike. The 49th palm strike seemed to be the last bit of the withered palm's strength. As soon as the palm strike landed, it could no longer continue. Finally, it turned into broken light and disappeared. As for Ning Fan, he could no longer stand steadily. However, he still straightened his body and looked at the withered palm with a cold expression. In this case, did I win? Before the withered palm disappeared, it left behind a sentence. Its tone sounded like a threat. The heavens have forsaken the cultivators. You can achieve it on your own. Since you don't want to turn back, don't regret it. Even though you are the great firmament tribulation spirit, you are not a cultivator from the true world. When you enter the true world in the future, you will certainly be punished by the fire of my solitary flame sect. You will be imprisoned in the bright sky prison forever. Even the tribulation lord won't be able to save you. The discussion between the three realms about the withered palm is the will of the heavens. No one can change it. If you want to live, just stay in the illusory dream world forever. Before the withered palm left, it actually issued a long threat to Ning Fan. The solitary flame sect of the solitary flame sect. What is that? The tribulation lord. It was a figure that Ning Fan did not even dare to mention. However, the withered palm dared to talk about it calmly. It was indeed impressive. Ning Fan did not care about the withered palm's threat at all. After withdrawing from the Dharma image of the god-destroying giant, he could no longer bear the weakness of his body. If it wasn't for his strong willpower, he would not have been able to stand straight. In this battle, the injuries he suffered were extremely terrifying. His physical body was almost destroyed and the foundation of his primordial spirit was also damaged. But he didn't regret it. At the very least, he had protected his own Tao. At the very least, he had become the only cultivator in the end of days to retain his obsession and break through to the void. Along with the disappearance of Ku Zhang, the shadows that were erased were restored. Ning Fan's cultivation base had also completely broken through the bottleneck after Ku Zhang's departure. His qi rose continuously. God cultivation, shedding void early stage. Demonic cultivation base, shedding void initial stage. Finally, the renouncing emptiness. With that, the god, spirit demon and demonic cultivations were considered to have stepped into the renouncing emptiness realm. What was left was for the three different types of cultivations to shatter their thoughts one step at a time, and with that, the three different types of cultivations would be on par with Jie Shui's cultivation. Ning Fan thought again. When that withered palm disappeared, it left behind a threat. Judging from its tone, it seemed like the withered palm would no longer appear in the samsara void tribulation in the future. Otherwise, it wouldn't have said that it would wait until Ning Fan arrives at the true world before giving him the punishment. In the future, it should be much easier for him to increase Shikong's cultivation. Of course, he couldn't eliminate the possibility that the withered palm would descend again. There's no need to bother about this. Let's recuperate first. After the phenomenon of the true bridge disappeared, Ning Fan entered a tower that had existed for thousands of years and began to heal his injuries. This time, he had completely used up all of his healing pills. He had no choice but to refine some pills using his mediocre mid-grade 7th Revolution pill refinement technique. Even though 7th Revolution pills were not very effective, he could still use them in large quantities. Besides, Ning Fan had countless precious medicinal ingredients in his hands. Many of them were used to concoct 9 Revolution lead pills, Silver Revolution pills and Gold Revolution pills. However, he used them wantonly to concoct 7th Revolution pills. As a result, not only did his pill refinement experience increase by leaps and bounds, the medicinal efficacy of the pills he concocted was also astonishing. The medicinal efficacy of the pills he concocted was not something that a 7th revolution pill could have at all. It was almost as good as a peak grade 8th revolution healing pill. Well, it was no wonder. In the entire Eastern Heaven, there would definitely not be any pill refinement master who would use 9th revolution medicinal ingredients to concoct 7th revolution pills. That was definitely a waste of heavenly resources. Most importantly, there were not many people who were as wealthy as Ning Fan who could afford to squander his pills like that. Not the pill refinement masters, not the medicine refinement masters, and not even the 3 elders of the devil pill sect. Pill refinement masters who were as wealthy as Ning Fan were rare. Ning Fan, however, did not feel distressed at all. After all, he had obtained these medicinal ingredients by killing others along the way. It would be a real waste if he did not use them to treat his injuries. The medicinal ingredients for the pills were good and there was a large amount of them. In addition to the healing effect of the Black Star technique, Ning Fan's injuries were slowly healing. Moreover, Ning Fan did not expect that there would be an unexpected gain this time when he was severely injured to the point where his life was in danger. As the saying goes, there can be no construction without destruction. The injuries he suffered this time were much more severe than the injuries he suffered when he stepped on the Origin Bridge. Because of that, the immortal bloodline that had been dormant in his body was awakened. In the past, Ning Fan had cultivated a trace of the immortal bloodline with the help of the God-exterminating shield. However, that immortal bloodline had never been put to use until now. This time, when his life was really in danger, this trace of immortal bloodline sensed it and woke up, joining the process of healing his injuries. Even though there was only a trace of the immortal bloodline, its recovery ability was actually much higher than those 7th revolution pills that he had squandered and wasted. It could be said to be heaven-defying. Ning Fan's primordial spirit was almost crippled. His primordial spirit, which was originally the size of a palm, had shrunk to the size of a thumb. This was an unprecedented injury. Even some 9th revolution golden pills would find it hard to treat injuries of this level. However, with the continuous nourishment of the immortal bloodline, Ning Fan's dispirited primordial spirit actually recovered bit by bit. Without relying on too much medicinal power, he was able to recover from that dispirited state. Even though the speed of recovery was very slow, who wanted Ning Fan to have less immortal bloodline? However, such a small amount of immortal bloodline actually managed to heal the serious injuries of Ning Fan's primordial spirit in the end. This is just too heaven-defying. If Ning Fan's immortal bloodline could be 100 or 1,000 times more, he was confident that he could heal such serious injuries to his primordial spirit within a year instead of spending 1,000 years. If he had a little more immortal bloodline, Ning Fan's injuries could be healed in the blink of an eye and his physical body could even regenerate at an extremely fast speed. Speaking of which, the Black Star technique of the Heaven Sovereign and the Undying Great Emperor's immortal bloodline were both rare healing abilities in this world. It would be great if he could fuse these two great abilities into one. Once this thought emerged in his mind, it would never go away. Unfortunately, he could only dream about it. Currently, he did not have the ability to fuse the absolute techniques of the two peerless experts. After 1,000 years, Ning Fan's injuries had already recovered by 80 to 90%. He was still consolidating his cultivation base in the Time Tower. At the same time, he also went through 2 true immortal realm minor heavenly tribulations of 600 years. The only thing that was left was the deficiency of his primordial chi. The scale of his heavenly tribulation was still based on the cultivation base of the divine, demon and devil races. Thus, the tribulation blood would not trigger the heavenly tribulation. In the past, Ning Fan did not understand the reason behind it. Now that he had comprehended yin and yang, he could guess the reason. The divine, demon and devil races were yin. Because heaven did not approve of them, they would face the heavenly tribulation. The grand firmament tribulation spirit was yang. Heaven had approved of it. How could it bear to send a heavenly tribulation to punish it, after 1,000 years, Ning Fan walked out of the Time Tower and stayed in the profound Yin world for a few days. For 10 consecutive days, he had been replenishing his lost primordial qi with the help of the human cauldrons. The process of replenishing his primordial qi was naturally beneficial to both parties. There was no need to elaborate on the process. When Ning Fan's primordial qi was fully replenished, it was already 10 days later when he returned to the Luo clan. It happened to be nighttime on the heavenly sea star. The entire Luo clan was decorated with lanterns and colored banners. The place was brightly lit and the atmosphere was festive. The sky above the heavenly sea star was filled with guests. Rays of traveling light came from all directions. It was unprecedentedly lively. The declining Luo clan had not been so lively for a long time. Ning Fan spread his spirit sense slightly. The entire heavenly sea star was enveloped in his spirit sense. After listening to the idle chatter of some cultivators, he immediately knew the reason. It turned out that the Luo clan was celebrating the Battle King's awakening. This was indeed a joyous event and it was worth celebrating. 10 days ago, the Battle King, Luo Ho, overcame countless heavenly tribulations of various sizes with his unparalleled cultivation base. After that, he immediately went into seclusion. It seemed like he had suffered some minor injuries during the heavenly tribulation and was currently recuperating. LV Feng, Old Wu, and Yun Lei were all severely injured. After watching the Battle King go through the heavenly tribulation, LV Feng and Old Wu temporarily stayed at the Broken Halberd Mountain to recuperate. As for immortal venerate Yun Lei, he returned to the main star of the Godly Void Pavilion to recuperate. Regarding the Battle King's awakening, the higher-ups of the Luo clan did not spread the news. However, it was still known by a few old monsters of the eastern sky who paid close attention to the Luo clan. As such, the Luo clan no longer concealed it. They simply celebrated openly on the heavenly sea star to vent the joy in their hearts. The awakening of the Battle King indicated that the Luo clan was about to rise again. Moreover, Luo Shi and the others only found out later that the Battle King of the Luo clan had not only awakened but his cultivation base had also advanced instead of regressing. Perhaps no one could stop the rise of the Luo clan this time. There were really a lot of guests. Most of them were cultivators from the eastern sky star region. There were also a few cultivators who came from faraway galaxies. They had only managed to rush over through the teleportation formations. Those who came were at least at the life immortal realm. Void fragmentation realm cultivators were not qualified to come and congratulate the Luo clan at all. Many old monsters who were as strong as Shikong and Xi Nian had also come to the Luo clan. However, most of them still had doubts in their hearts. They did not believe that an immortal king who had been in slumber for 45 million years would have a chance to awaken. Even though there were also many people who believed that the Battle King had already awakened, they were convinced that the Battle King's cultivation base would certainly be much weaker than before. If the Battle King's cultivation base did not fall after being severely injured for so many years, these people would never believe it. Even though there were a lot of guests, Luo Shi was the one who entertained them. The Battle King did not show up. As such, those guests had no way of knowing the Battle King's current cultivation base. Naturally, Ning Fan also did not plan to show up. These people were here to congratulate the Luo clan. There was no need for him to join them. Thus, he went to LV Feng and Old Wu's abode to check on them. Both of them had suffered serious injuries while rescuing the Battle King. Fortunately, their foundations were not hurt. Besides, they had enough healing pills. They would recover fully in at most 1.5 years. However, in that case, he might not be able to bring the two of them with him for the upcoming major event. Calculating the time, the Pill's Sect's anti-Ning meeting would be held in a few days. At that time, he would really have to go alone, Pill's Sect. Ning Fan's spirit sense locked on the entire heavenly sea star. Among the guests who came to congratulate the Luo clan, many of them were chatting about this matter. Have you heard? The sect master of the Pill sect has sent out a hero invitation, inviting people to join the Anti-Ning Alliance. I don't want to get involved in this mess. Just when I was worried that I had no reason to reject this matter, I happened to hear that the Battle King of the Luo clan has awakened. Thus, I came. The Pill sect is really lucky. A newly advanced 9th Revolution Golden Core Realm Pill Refinement Master. Moreover, it is said that he has even touched the bottleneck of the Sovereign Pill Refinement Realm. That sect master of the Pill sect might not have a high cultivation base, but his pill refinement technique is probably the best in the Eastern Heaven. It's no wonder that he could gather such a huge force. I wonder how the Reign Immortal Sovereign will deal with this matter. Do you think the Reign Immortal Sovereign will directly go and cause trouble? I don't think so. The experts of the entire Pill sect have gathered for the Anti-Ning meeting this time. It is said that the Pill sect has invited 3 immortal venerables this time. One of them is the old ancestor of the Han clan. If the Reign Immortal Sovereign goes, I'm afraid he won't be able to get any benefits. Instead, his life might be in danger. What? Even that old ancestor of the Han clan is going to take action. That's a second tribulation immortal venerable. If that's really the case, the Reign Immortal Sovereign will probably get the news too. He won't go there recklessly. Hee. Fellow Taoists, you really worry too much. This is the matter between the Reign Immortal Sovereign and the Pill sect. What does it have to do with insignificant people like us? Let's drink. We just want to drink to our heart's content. The spiritual wine of the Luo clan is really good wine. Conversations like this were happening all over the place. Ning Fan stopped listening to these conversations after listening to them for a while. All of them were the same. Most of them did not think that he could resist the Anti-Ning alliance. So be it. The opinions of others did not affect him at all. He did not care about it at all. Just because he did not care about it, Ning Fan, who had just triggered his first void-shedding tribulation, actually felt slightly moved. It was actually the feeling of the impending second void-shedding tribulation. Of course, he had just triggered his first void-shedding tribulation. He would not immediately trigger the second heart tribulation. This feeling of impending tribulation disappeared in a flash. After all, Ning Fan's cultivation base alone was not strong enough to break through to the next cultivation realm. At the very least, he needed to raise his divine and demon cultivation base to the peak of the early void-shedding tribulation before he could advance to the next cultivation realm. Thus, Ning Fan's top priority now was to raise his divine and demon cultivation base to the peak of the early void-shedding tribulation. It was still too early for him to pursue the second heart tribulation. However, the first heart tribulation was related to the word promise. As for the second heart tribulation, he did not know what it was related to. The Luo clan was overjoyed. They were unprecedentedly busy. Ning Fan did not plan to trouble them and left the Heavenly Sea Star alone. Before he left, he only informed Lu Feng and Old Wu about his departure. Therefore, be it the Luo clan or the Battle King, neither of them knew about his departure. As a matter of fact, the Battle King had already ordered him to send someone to inform him once Ning Fan comes out of his seclusion. He would certainly visit Ning Fan personally and thank him generously for saving his life. However, Ning Fan did not need the Battle King's gratitude. The reason he saved Battle King was not because of the latter's gratitude. It was just to fulfill his promise to Luo Shi. Now that he had fulfilled his promise, the karma between them was settled. None of them owed the other anything. The Battle King did not owe him anything. When he left, there was no rain in the Heavenly Sea Star. However, not long after he left, a beautiful guest finally arrived. As soon as she arrived, the weather of the Heavenly Sea Star changed and rain fell. It was a lady who was holding an umbrella. Her eyes were as gentle as the rain. Her fine black hair fluttered in the wind. She was wearing a blue scarf on her head. She usually did not dress up like this. Today, however, she wanted to dress up like this. It was because this was the attire she wore when she first met Ning Fan. "Miss, you are." The cultivator who welcomed the guest was only at the divine transformation realm. How could he see through the cultivation base of the lady who was holding the umbrella? All he could feel was that this lady carried a noble aura. She was probably not an ordinary person. Thus, he naturally did not dare to neglect her. "My surname is Tan Tai. Today, I came here to congratulate the Battle King on his awakening. Secondly, I want to meet someone. Is the Rain Lord here?" The lady took out a congratulatory gift from her storage pouch. Her first question was about the Rain Lord instead of the Battle King. The few cultivators who welcomed the guest immediately became alert. "Her surname is Tan Tai." There were no major forces in the Eastern Heaven that had the surname Tan Tai, right? Most of them were aristocratic families. There were many of them in the Northern and Southern Heavens. As they could not figure out the lady's intention and background, they did not dare to answer her carelessly. Their clan master had instructed them to pretend that they did not know anything if any guest asks about the Rain Lord. After all, Ning Fan had made too many enemies in the Eastern Heaven. Who knew what the other party was planning to ask about him? Seeing that the few cultivators who welcomed the guest kept quiet, the lady did not ask anymore. Instead, she spread out her spirit sense and scanned the entire heavenly sea star. Then, she pursed her lips and smiled. It seemed like she was late. A large clump of Yin Qi had already left the heavenly sea star an hour ago. The owner of that Yin Qi should be Ning Fan. Even though she had only met him once in the past and hundreds of years had passed since then, she was confident that she would not mistake the smell of Yin Qi on Ning Fan's body. In the illusory dream world, every resident of the Yin world had their own unique smell. There were not many Yin cultivators who were as stubborn as Ning Fan. Moreover, after all these years, his Yin Qi had become even heavier. It would be even more difficult for him to advance from Yin to Yang in the future. Since Ning Fan was not around, the lady did not stay in the Luo clan for long either. Soon, she left in the direction of the Pill sect. No one knew if it was a coincidence or on purpose. Of course, it was impossible for her to find out Ning Fan's whereabouts. However, with her intelligence, she could easily guess where Ning Fan had gone after leaving the heavenly sea star. If she goes there, she should be able to see Ning Fan. In the blink of an eye, another 6 days passed. In the Pill sect's Dan Xia star. On this day, the Dan Xia star was also decorated with lanterns and streamers. The atmosphere was full of joy. Today was the day of the establishment of the Anti-Ning Alliance. After today, the huge alliance would be established and the sect master of the Pill sect would become the leader of the alliance. It was truly a joyous occasion. Each of the cultivators of the Pill sect was filled with joy. They were in high spirits. Their sect was flourishing and they could enjoy the shade under the shade of a big tree. In the past, Ning Fan had placed a bounty of 100 billion on the head of the sect master of the Pill sect. That was the most humiliating period of the entire Pill sect. There were old monsters of the Eastern Heaven eyeing their sect master's head every day. As a result, the sect master did not even dare to step out of the sect without enough experts to protect him. Like a cowardly tortoise, he was ridiculed by countless old monsters. Fortunately, their sect master broke through to the Gold Core Realm's 9th Revolution Pill refinement technique later on. From then on, the cultivators of the Pill sect could finally hold their heads up high again. No one would seek trouble with the Pill sect for mere Tao crystals anymore. After all, he was a 9th Revolution Golden Core Realm Pill refinement master. Even the ancient monsters had to be polite to him. Besides, he had a terrifying charisma. In the past, among the Pill refinement sects of the Eastern Heaven, the Pill sect and the Medicine sect were on equal footing. Each of them occupied half of the sect. Today, the Pill sect was already the dominant sect in the entire Eastern Heaven. Today, their sect master just sent out some invitations and he directly established a cultivation alliance. Up until now, there were already 3 immortal venerables of the 10,000 ancient times in the alliance. What kind of charisma was that? Just thinking about it made one's blood boil. Apart from the secret races and the immortal emperors, who else in the entire Eastern Heaven could summon 3 immortal venerables with just a few words other than their sect master? Sect master is our pride. Each of the cultivators of the Pill sect had fanatical admiration in their eyes. In the sky above Dan Xia planet, there was an endless stream of cultivators going in and out. For today's grand ceremony, a floating city was built in the sky above Dan Xia planet. It floated in the starry sky. There was a venue built in the city and it was already filled with experts from various places who were interested in joining the alliance. After a careful count, there were more than 100,000 cultivators above the void fragmentation realm. At the center of the venue, there was a tall platform. Today, the alliance was established. Only true immortals above the Duzhen realm were qualified to sit on the tall platform. There was only a quarter of an hour before noon, but there were already more than 200 true immortals sitting on the tall platform. Among them, there were 31 void-shedding cultivators, 9 thought-shattering cultivators, 3 immortal venerables of the 10,000 ancient times and the rest were all Duzhen. However, even Duzhen was a true immortal old monster who had been famous in the Eastern Heaven for countless years. What a grand ceremony! What a grand occasion! To be able to gather so many experts in one place, there really weren't many people in the entire Eastern Heaven who had such charisma. The sect master of the Pill sect had yet to show up. The 3 immortal venerables of the 10,000 ancient times were also resting with their eyes closed. Some true immortal old monsters were discussing in groups of 3 to 5. Ha! Isn't this Brother Qin? From today onwards, we are cultivators of the same alliance. We must have more contact in the future. Oh! Taoist Zhang also came. This Pill sect really has a big face. They even invited a thought-shattering expert like you who has been living in seclusion for many years. Hiss. Isn't that devil cultivator Feng Li? He actually came too. Some of them were exchanging greetings. Some of them were recognizing Ning Fan. There were also some who were talking about Ning Fan. Most of their tones were filled with disdain. In my opinion, that bullshit Rain Immortal Monarch only has an undeserved reputation. How can he be a match for our alliance? That's right. If the Alliance Master can take another step forward in Pill Refinement and become the legendary 9 Revolution Emperor Pill Refinement Master, I'm afraid that even many immortal emperors will be willing to join our anti-Ning alliance. Hee hee. What does that Rain Lord count as? He just has a powerful master. If he angers the alliance, I'll be the first to teach him a lesson. I heard that other than establishing the alliance, we also have to determine the 4th class of Sin sects. That's right. What the Alliance Master means is that we don't just want to kill that traitor Ning alone. We also want to annihilate all the forces that are related to him. According to the relationship between them and that traitor Ning, we can divide those forces into 4 classes. The 1st class will kill the entire sect. The 2nd class will only kill the sect master. The 3rd class will punish them with Tao crystals. The 4th class will issue a decree and reprimand them. For example, the Qianqiu sect established by that traitor Ning is the 1st class of Sin sect. As for the Medicine sect, it's the 2nd class. Sigh. This old man is actually a little worried. That Rain Lord is a cultivator of the Slaughter Palace and he has a close relationship with the Godly Void Pavilion. Fellow Taoist, you're confused. So what if he's the Slaughter Palace? So what if he's the Godly Void Pavilion? Can he still be compared to the Dark Race? Hee hee. Just experience it yourself. Everyone was talking and laughing. Their morale was high. Seeing this scene, the sect master of the Pill sect calmed down a little. Inwardly, he scolded himself for being a coward. He had the alliance in his hands. Why should he be afraid of Ning Fan? What was funny was that he had a feeling of fear every day for the past few days, as if a great calamity was about to befall him. This feeling was probably because he was worrying too much. He had the alliance in his hands. How could Ning Fan possibly kill him in the midst of thousands of troops? On his side, there were 3 immortal venerables guarding him. Look! The Alliance Master is here. Greetings, Alliance Master. May the Alliance Master be blessed. Greetings, Alliance Master. No one knew who shouted loudly. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the sect master of the Pill sect, who was slowly walking towards them from the sky. Then, the crowd greeted him passionately. The sect master of the Pill sect landed at the center of the high platform. He waved his hand, trying to calm down the noise in the hall. Unfortunately, everyone was too enthusiastic and he could not control the situation at all. He could only give up and let the crowd shout non-stop. As such, after a long time, the entire hall gradually quietened down. The hall became quiet. The 3 immortal venerables who were resting with their eyes closed opened their eyes at the same time and nodded slightly at the sect master of the Pill sect. Even though they were conceited about their status, they still gave the sect master enough respect. The other true immortal realm old monsters stood up one after another and greeted the sect master of the Pill sect politely. This scene ignited the blood in the hearts of countless people. What do people live for? It's nothing more than fame and fortune. To be able to make a name for oneself in front of 100,000 immortal cultivators was a true man. Only by doing so could one live a life of hard cultivation. Everyone, you don't have to be so courteous. Today is the day of the establishment of my anti-Ning alliance. My sect is very fortunate to be able to invite so many famous immortal cultivators to join the alliance. Thank you for giving me face. After the alliance is established, the first task is to kill Ning Fan. This demon has been stirring up chaos in the Eastern Heaven for a long time. When he was at the Void Fragmentation Realm in the past, he already dared to set up a formation to kill 100 immortal cultivators. After that, he continued to slaughter and made the entire world his enemy. He completely looked down on all the sects in the Eastern Heaven. If this demon isn't eliminated, I won't be able to feel at ease. I have no choice but to ask for everyone's help. Everyone, please help me kill this demon. Build the alliance and kill Ning Fan. If this demon isn't eliminated, the heavens will not tolerate it. As soon as the sect master of the Pill sect finished his words, countless cultivators in the hall immediately shouted in response. Build the alliance and kill Ning Fan. If this demon isn't eliminated, the heavens will not tolerate it. Build the alliance and kill Ning Fan. If this demon isn't eliminated, the heavens will not tolerate it. The shouts became louder and louder. In the end, the group of cultivators even used their cultivation bases, causing the sound waves to gather and erupt with a terrifying aura force. The color of heaven and earth changed. Wind and clouds gathered. Each of the cultivators' eardrums hurt, but they still shouted with all their might, as if Ning Fan had some kind of blood feud with them. However, everyone was well aware that killing Ning Fan was just to please the sect master of the Pill sect and the Dark race. How could there be so much morality in it? Morality? Is that kind of thing valuable? They would not go against Ning Fan for that kind of thing. Which one of them who could cultivate to the Void Fragmentation Realm was not a shrewd person? If there were no benefits, who would take the risk of offending an extremely dangerous existence like Ning Fan? The sound waves became louder and louder, as if they were going to break through the sky. Some disciples of the Pill sect whose cultivation bases were not strong enough had already felt their eardrums bleeding. There were even a few of them whose sea of consciousness was directly shattered by the sound waves and died. Seeing this scene, the sect master of the Pill sect became displeased again. He wanted to control the situation and make everyone quiet down. However, he realized that everyone was already as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They did not listen to his orders at all. At this moment, a voice that seemed to have come directly from the nine nether abyss resounded. It carried a bone-chilling coldness. That voice was not loud, but it directly overpowered all the other sound waves, clearly entering the ears of every cultivator of the Alliance. Is everyone here? At this moment, the crowd that was originally in high spirits suddenly fell into the dead of winter. All the cultivators calmed down at this moment. The crowd that the sect master of the Pill sect could not control immediately fell into dead silence. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. Only the sound of countless people inhaling cold breaths could be heard continuously. Countless pairs of eyes fell on the white-robed young man who descended from the sky. The Rain Immortal Monarch, Ning Fan. This malefic star actually came. He actually dared to come. There were obviously 100,000 experts gathered here, and there were even 3 immortal venerables guarding the place. Why did this malefic star dare to come? It's the Rain Bandit. Cultivators of the Alliance, quickly follow me to kill the Rain Bandit, a burly man who was bare-chested suddenly shouted. He wanted to order his subordinates to besiege Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan, who was standing in the starry sky, just bent down and gave him a cold stare. That man was so frightened that he could no longer utter a word. He was a late true crossing realm true immortal. However, Ning Fan's stare actually made him speechless. This person was not the only one. Be it void renouncing or broken thought, none of the true immortals present actually dared to look at Ning Fan's ice-cold stare, which was like an apocalyptic god of death. Even the 3 immortal venerables of 10,000 ancient times were shocked to find that their hearts were trembling uncontrollably when they looked directly into Ning Fan's eyes. How is this possible? This young man is just a newly advanced immortal venerable. Even if he had killed old ancestor De Yun before, his baleful chi should not be this strong. What kind of devil lord could possess such baleful chi? It was unimaginable and unbelievable. Dead silence. Dead silence. Still more dead silence. In front of Ning Fan, not a single person in the vast alliance actually dared to take the lead and say something ruthless at this moment. It seems like everyone is here. That's good. I don't have to go to each of you one by one in the future. Ning Fan seemed to be talking to himself. All of a sudden, everyone felt their hearts beating wildly, as if a peerless massacre was about to happen. Since we're in an alliance, don't waste my time. Let's attack together. How arrogant was that? However, how confident was that? As soon as he said that, countless cultivators of the Alliance were enraged. Under the humiliation and anger, they immediately suppressed their fear. Immediately, thousands of them flew into the sky and surrounded Ning Fan. Slogans such as "Kill Thief Ning" and "Kill Thief Yu" rose one after another and resounded across the starry sky. Chapter 985. Thousands of cultivators rose into the sky and surrounded Ning Fan. Among them, there was no lack of second-step cultivators, but they were just a minority. Most of them were void fragmentation realm cultivators. Magical treasures and spells streaked across the darkness of the starry sky, instantly lighting up the originally dark and gloomy sky. Vast waves of magical power surged, each wave higher than the last, stirring up waves after waves of void storms in the starry sky. More and more cultivators of the Alliance rose into the sky and joined in the encirclement of Ning Fan. Each of them was filled with killing intent. If Ning Fan was alone, none of the cultivators of the Alliance would naturally dare to provoke him. But now, the Alliance had the advantage in numbers. Why would they be afraid of Ning Fan alone? The initial shock had already been suppressed. This Ning Fan dared to choose the auspicious day of the Alliance's establishment and barged into the Alliance alone. He simply did not put the Alliance in his eyes. Since he has come, he shouldn't leave. Kill. 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 Raise the prestige of our Alliance with the blood of the Rain Bandit. Those who get the Rain Bandit's corpse intact will be beaten 300 times. Those who get the Rain Bandit's head will be rewarded with 10 billion Dao crystals. Those who get the upper body will be rewarded with 6 billion Dao crystals. Those who get 4 limbs will be rewarded with 2 billion Dao crystals. Those who get an inch of flesh will be rewarded with 1 billion Dao crystals. Some of the higher-ups of the alliance actually gave a generous reward to tear Ning Fan's body into pieces. Even though these cultivators of the alliance were a motley crew, as the cultivators of the eastern heaven that had the most wars, which one of them wasn't a fugitive who had been roaming around for many years. With such a generous reward, they became even more courageous. There was no lack of killing in the cultivation world. There were cases of a lone tiger killing a group of wolves. However, there were even more cases of a group of wolves killing a tiger. Kill. 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 The shouts of killing had already reached the sky. Countless attacks came from all directions. There was no way out. Moreover, Ning Fan had never thought of retreating. The reason he came here today was to annihilate the alliance. He wanted to give the entire Eastern Heaven a bloody warning with today's incident. Ning Fan's eyes directly locked onto an early thought fragmentation realm old monster among the thousands of troops. The person who shouted that he wanted to dismember him with 5 horses was this person. In his eyes, the besiegement of thousands of cultivators was nothing. With a wave of his sleeve, the attacks of thousands of void fragmentation realm and life immortal realm cultivators were all absorbed into his sleeve. If there were thousands of well-trained cultivators attacking him in a formation, he wouldn't be able to take away all of their magic treasures and abilities so easily. Unfortunately, the so-called alliance cultivators were just a motley crew. Attacking him in a formation? Can you count on an alliance that has just been established and is still unfamiliar with each other to form a formation to besiege Ning Fan? Ning Fan flicked his sleeves again. Those divine abilities and magic treasures that were attacking him flew out from his sleeves and flew back to the cultivators of the alliance. The crowd of cultivators was shocked. They hurriedly put up their defenses. However, at least hundreds of void fragmentation realm and life immortal realm cultivators were killed by the stray arrows on the chaotic battlefield. Don't panic. All cultivators, listen to my command. 10 to a row, form a square formation. It was the early thought fragmentation realm expert who wanted to divide Ning Fan's corpse. His voice shook the starry sky and he gave the order. He was the Heavenly Formation Elder, the sect master of the Eastern Heavenly Formation sect. Due to his expertise in battle formations, he was conferred as one of the 10 elders of the alliance. Unfortunately, before the square formation could be formed, Ning Fan had already taken a step in the starry sky and turned into a ray of golden light, disappearing from his original spot like a ghost. In a flash, he directly passed through thousands of cultivators and appeared in front of the Heavenly Formation Elder. Then, he launched an attack and slashed his Dao sword. The Heavenly Formation Elder was greatly shocked. He summoned his Dao weapon and tried to block the attack. However, it was all in vain. Both he and his Dao weapon were cut into 2 by Ning Fan's sword. A dignified sense fragmentation realm cultivator could not withstand a single sword attack from Ning Fan. His blood splattered across the starry sky. At the next moment, a ray of light flew out from the remains of the corpse. It was the primordial spirit of the Heavenly Formation Elder. His primordial spirit was greatly shocked. It hurriedly escaped from his physical body but was caught by Ning Fan and swallowed alive. All of a sudden, the essence chi around Ning Fan's body became much more powerful. The 10th Elder was actually eaten alive by the rain thief. Hiss. The sound of countless people inhaling cold breaths resounded across the starry sky. The fact that Ning Fan instantly killed the 10th Elder in the midst of thousands of troops was already frightening enough. However, what was even more frightening was the scene where Ning Fan swallowed the primordial spirit alive. Without the 10th Elder's command, the formation of the cultivators of the alliance finally fell into complete chaos. The art of life slaughter is the lost ability of the ancient devils. It is the technique that made great Emperor Mo famous. Today, I will let all of you witness the terror of the ancient devils. The art of life slaughter was the lost ability of the ancient devils. When one kills someone, he or she could absorb the blood chi of the dead to recover the essence chi of the ancient devils. However, this was only the effect of the art of life slaughter used by ordinary ancient devils. After using the devil blood fusion talisman, Ning Fan gained a new understanding of this technique. If the ancient devils who used the devil blood fusion talisman used this technique, not only could they quickly recover the essence chi they consumed, but if they devoured the primordial spirit or demon soul of others, they could also temporarily increase their combat power like a secret technique. To the ancient devils who used the devil blood fusion talisman, the more lives they killed, the stronger their cultivation base would be. After devouring the primordial spirit of the Heavenly Formation Elder, Ning Fan could obtain 1/10 of the Heavenly Formation Elder's cultivation base within a few hours. After devouring the Heavenly Formation Elder, the ancient devil's cultivation base of the 8th Nirvana Heavenly Devil Realm instantly reached the limit of the 8th Nirvana Realm. He no longer suppressed his ancient devil cultivation base. Instead, he turned his physical body into a giant and appeared at the center of the battlefield. Ancient Devil. Many experienced old monsters exclaimed at this moment, especially those void fragmentation realm and life immortal realm cultivators. To them, ancient devils were existences that were extremely far away from them. Now, however, they were witnessing it with their own eyes. Don't be afraid. So what if he's an ancient devil? So what if he eats humans? It's not the first time you've seen a cultivator who eats humans. Don't be afraid, you bandit. Another peak-shedding void realm old monster transmitted his voice to the sky. His voice resounded across the starry sky, suppressing the panic of the crowd. After the death of the Heavenly Formation Elder, this person had taken over his responsibilities and wanted to command the overall situation. He was the 17th Elder of the Alliance. Unfortunately, just as his voice fell, Ning Fan's giant ancient devil body directly stepped on the starry sky battlefield and walked towards him. With the strength of his ancient devil body, every step he took would directly trample many cultivators of the Alliance who could not evade in time to death. In just a few steps, he had already appeared in front of that person. When he pressed his devil palm, heaven and earth seemed to collapse. Not good. The 17th Elder opened his mouth and spat out a ray of cold light. It was the Tao weapon flying sword that he had refined for many years. He only hoped to stop the devil palm from descending upon him while his entire body retreated madly. However, he could not escape. Ning Fan just pressed his devil palm and the Tao weapon flying sword was directly crushed. That devil palm seemed to be able to cover the entire sky. Then, he clenched his fist as if he was holding all the time in his palm. Under the pressure of the gigantic palm, the 17th Elder was directly crushed to death. Along with the 17th Elder, more than 100 cultivators of the Alliance were also killed by the gigantic palm. Fortunately, the 17th Elder used a secret technique. His severely injured primordial spirit managed to escape from the gap of the gigantic palm. However, he could not escape from death. Ning Fan opened his mouth and directly swallowed his primordial spirit. Even the 17th Elder has been eaten. The fear that filled the crowd of cultivators became even more intense. At this moment, Ning Fan seized the opportunity to launch a one-sided massacre. Even though the physical body of an ancient devil was gigantic like a target, the strength of his physical body would also increase tremendously after he transformed into his gigantic form. The divine abilities of the Void Renunciation Realm could no longer hurt Ning Fan at all. When he was charging in the midst of thousands of troops, any punch or palm strike from him had the power to shatter a cultivation planet. Each of his attacks would certainly take the lives of more than 100 cultivators. With the ancient devil's gigantic body in his Jie Shui, divine and demon cultivation base, Ning Fan's combat power was so strong that it was almost unstoppable. The physical bodies of cultivators were continuously destroyed by the ancient devil giant while their primordial spirits managed to escape. However, after each attack, the ancient devil giant would open its mouth and forcefully swallow the primordial spirits that were lucky enough to survive. Kill and devour primordial spirits. Kill and devour primordial spirits. After eliminating the 17th elder, Ning Fan continued his massacre. The more lives he killed, the stronger his ancient devil aura force became. 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 1,000 people. 2,000 people, 3,000 people, 4,000 people, 10,000 people. The entire alliance had 100,000 experts. Other than the sect master of the Pill sect and the 3 immortal venerables, almost all of them had joined the battle. However, none of them could stop Ning Fan's massacre. In less than the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the number of casualties had already reached 1/10. Moreover, Ning Fan had purposely chosen the strong ones to kill first. Among the cultivators who died in the battle, the ratio of the strong ones was very high. Out of the 200 Duzhen cultivators of the Alliance, more than half of them had been killed by Ning Fan. More than 40 of them had been devoured alive. Out of the 31 Void Renunciation Realm cultivators of the Alliance, 19 of them had been killed by Ning Fan. Among them, there were even 2 Peak Thought Fragmentation Realm cultivators. Out of the 9 Thought Fragmentation Realm cultivators of the Alliance, 4 of them had died. All of them had been devoured by Ning Fan. Among them, there were even 2 Peak Thought Fragmentation Realm cultivators. With the help of the art of killing, Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base had temporarily skyrocketed to the peak 9th Nirvana realm of the Heavenly Devil realm. That unique aura of an ancient devil shook the hearts of every cultivator of the Alliance. The ancient gods were known for their cultivation speed. The ancient demons were known for their strange abilities. As for the ancient devils, they were known for their brutality and brutality. The ancient devils were known for their bloodthirsty nature. The ancient devils who cultivated the art of killing had an incomparably ferocious chi. The strength of the ancient devils had left a huge shadow in the hearts of all the cultivators here. Bang! The physical body of the 7th elder of the Alliance was directly crushed by Ning Fan's palm and his primordial spirit was devoured alive. Chi, the 4th elder of the Alliance, died. His primordial spirit was devoured alive. There were also the 13th elder, the 5th elder, the 11th elder and the 6th elder. The experts of the Alliance kept dying one after another. More and more cultivators had their primordial spirits devoured by Ning Fan. The entire starry sky was filled with baleful chi. Ning Fan's ancient devil aura force was also continuously increasing. 10th Nirvana realm of the Heavenly Devil realm, 11th Nirvana realm. The 11th Nirvana realm seemed to be the limit of Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base. Of course, the art of killing had its limits. Otherwise, wouldn't Ning Fan's ancient devil cultivation base directly break through to the Immortal Emperor realm or the Quasi-Saint realm if he continues killing? Of course, that was impossible. Ning Fan would not be able to withstand that level of power. However, the aura force of an ancient devil at the 11th Nirvana realm was already extremely terrifying. Especially when he devoured the primordial spirits of those cultivators, it made the faces of countless cultivators of the Alliance turn pale. So this is the Reign Immortal Monarch? Powerful and ruthless. Countless cultivators of the Alliance began to regret getting involved in this mess. However, it was already too late for regrets since things had already come to this. They could only walk down this path until the very end. 3 Immortal Venerables, please take action to kill the Rain Bandit and protect the Alliance. The Alliance army was utterly defeated by Ning Fan. They scattered in all directions while asking for help from the 3 Immortal Venerables on the high platform below. As the leader of the Alliance, the sect master of the Pill sect naturally did not join the battle. As for the 3 Immortal Venerables, they also held the line and did not take any action. At this moment, the sect master of the Pill sect was also looking at the three immortal venerables with pleading eyes. Ning Fan's ferocity and strength were like a shadow that covered his heart. Before this, even though the sect master of the Pill sect had heard of Ning Fan's ferocious name, he had never seen it with his own eyes. Thus, he only had a vague idea about Ning Fan's ferocity. Today, however, he saw it with his own eyes. How powerful was he to devour a peak thought fragmentation realm expert alive? Perhaps only these three immortal venerables had the strength to kill Ning Fan in this place. Ning Fan must die. He must die here. If Ning Fan does not die, he would never be able to have a good night's sleep in this lifetime. Who could sleep peacefully with such a powerful enemy beside him? Among the three immortal venerables, the patriarch of the Wang family and the patriarch of the Sun family were both first tribulation immortal venerables. Only the patriarch of the Han family was a second tribulation immortal venerables. Naturally, the patriarch of the Han family was their leader. In the beginning, the three immortal venerables did not make a move for a long time. Firstly, they wanted to observe Ning Fan's strength in secret. Secondly, they wanted their subordinates to besiege Ning Fan and use their lives to kill him. They did not wish to injure Ning Fan. Instead, they only wished to exhaust Ning Fan's magic power. Unfortunately, Ning Fan did not use too many of his abilities during the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. No matter what he did, he only used the same Tao weapon and the huge ancient devil body. The three of them could not see through Ning Fan at all. They did not know what other trump cards Ning Fan had. What surprised the three of them was that Ning Fan's face did not turn red, nor was he out of breath after killing countless old monsters. It seemed like he did not consume much of his magic power at all. The three of them naturally did not know that Ning Fan cultivated the wood yin-yang art. His magic power recovery speed was already very fast. Now that he used the life-killing technique, he could recover his essence chi while killing people. Thus, the consumption of his magic power was naturally minimal. Fellow Taoists, please attack and kill this fiend. If the matter succeeds, this old man will definitely thank you generously. Pill faction sect master pleaded. Don't worry. He's just a mere rain bandit. I can kill him with a flick of my finger. The three of them exchanged glances with each other and finally agreed to take action. They were not concerned about the casualties of the others. However, if there are too many casualties, it would be disadvantageous to the alliance. Now that they had observed enough, it was time to take action. The old ancestor of the Han clan slammed the table and rose to his feet. The old ancestor of the Sun clan and the old ancestor of the Wang clan followed closely behind him. The three of them soared into the sky at the same time and appeared at the center of the battlefield. As soon as the three of them appeared, the surviving cultivators of the alliance rejoiced. They retreated a great distance away from the battlefield, leaving the battlefield to the three immortal venerables. What was going to happen next was the real battle. There was no longer any room for them to intervene. The cultivators of the alliance who were scared out of their wits by Ning Fan also regained some of their courage because of the intervention of the three immortal venerables. They were three immortal venerables from the past 10,000 years. One of them was even a second tribulation immortal venerate. Who was Ning Fan? He was just a newly advanced immortal venerate. It was probably his limit for a newly advanced immortal venerate to kill old ancestor De Yun. Facing the joint attack of three immortal venerables, even if he could survive, he would probably have to pay a huge price. Old ancestors, please kill the Rain Bandit and protect the reputation of our alliance. Kill the Rain Bandit and protect the alliance. Kill the Rain Bandit and protect the alliance. All of a sudden, rain began to fall in the starry sky. At first, it was just a light drizzle. However, as Ning Fan's killing intent surged, it immediately turned into a storm that filled the entire starry sky. Han Yingui of the White Spirit Island, Sun Lin of the Sea Soul Star and Wang Yangzi of the Wind Tomb Star. Since it wasn't easy for you to cultivate, I'll give you a chance to repent. If you submit to me and become my slaves and join my 1,000 years sect, I can spare your lives. Give me an answer within 3 breaths. Otherwise, this matter will be annulled. Ning Fan withdrew from his giant ancient devil body and looked at the 3 of them expressionlessly. Facing 3 immortal venerables, given the fact that his physical body was not strong enough, there was no benefit in transforming into a giant body. It would only make him a target. Thus, it was better to not use it. Of course, it was still very convenient for him to kill ordinary soldiers with his giant body. It was very efficient for him to kill a large group of them. Seeing that Ning Fan still dared to speak arrogantly even though he was fighting against 3 of them alone, no matter how shrewd the 3 immortal venerables of the alliance were, they could not help but show their anger on their faces. All of them sneered. Humph! Spare our lives. You sure have a big mouth. Do you think you're an immortal king? Why are you wasting your breath on him? Just kill him. The dark race will certainly not mistreat us. The 3 of them already had the thought of killing Ning Fan to claim credit. At this moment, all of them displayed their abilities. Their killing intent soared to the sky and they showed no mercy. Wang Yangzi took the lead. He opened his mouth and spat out a fiery red flying sword. There were 9 fire dragons engraved on the sword. It was called the 9 Dragons' Inheritance Seizing Sword. It was a magic treasure from the immemorial era. It was at the 12th grade of Nirvana rebirth. It was extremely powerful. As soon as the sword appeared, the starry sky was filled with endless dragon roars. Moreover, there was a world-destroying heat that caused the temperature of the entire starry sky to rise rapidly. Under the blazing light, half of the starry sky was dyed red. Fall! As Wang Yangzi shouted, the sword immediately flew out with a whistling sound, aiming at Ning Fan's face. Ning Fan's expression was merciless. He waved his palm and pressed against the 1,000 zhang sword shadow. This palm strike contained the ancient devil power and the power of the other 3 elements. Naturally, it was not something to be underestimated. As soon as he pressed against it, the 1,000 zhang sword shadow could no longer move forward by even half an inch. With another palm strike, the 9 Dragons' Inheritance Seizing Sword was actually sent flying away. Wang Yangzi was inwardly shocked. Ning Fan had actually withstood his full-powered attack with just his bare hands. In the first tribulation of all eternity, there were only a handful of people who could do this. The Rain Bandit is indeed powerful. Soul-sacrificing banner. 10 billion soul beasts, appear. Sun Lin took the opportunity to launch a sneak attack on Ning Fan. He raised a blue Yin banner high up in the air. As soon as he waved the banner, 10 billion wandering souls flew out from it. All of them were the people whom Sun Lin had killed in his life. The 10 billion wandering souls condensed and turned into the gigantic shadow of a soul beast that resembled both an ox and an elephant. That soul beast had 2 horns which gave people a feeling that it was unstoppable. At the moment when Ning Fan slapped away Wang Yangzi's flying sword, that soul beast had already completely materialized and charged towards Ning Fan. That soul beast's footsteps were very heavy. Every step it took could actually shake the starry sky. Just as Ning Fan turned his body sideways, the soul beast had already collided with him. The brute force made Ning Fan almost lose his balance. He was slightly startled. The brute force of the soul beast was so strong that he didn't dare to confront it head-on. He stepped on a golden rainbow and instantly disappeared from his original position, causing the soul beast to collide with an afterimage. However, the afterimage was shattered into pieces. Sun Lin felt that it was a pity. This Rain Bandit's speed was shockingly fast. At such a critical moment, he was actually able to dodge. Han Yungue frowned slightly. That was because the soul beast's attack had missed, but because of its momentum, it couldn't change its direction. It continued to fly toward him. What a terrible coordination. Sun Lin's attack missed, but it affected him instead. Get lost. Han Yungue waved his hand. Immediately, a 100 zhang palm imprint was launched at the soul beast. After receiving the attack, the soul beast let out a miserable shriek. Its gigantic body was directly shattered into 10 billion soul shadows. However, after the soul shadows were shattered, they reformed into the form of the soul beast. It didn't seem to be damaged much and could still be used. However, the soul beast's eyes were filled with deep fear when it looked at Han Yungue. Who asked Han Yungue to be so powerful? He could actually shatter its soul body with a single palm imprint. From this, it could be seen that Han Yungue was stronger than Ning Fan, Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi in terms of cultivation base. He was the only one who could shatter the soul beast with just his cultivation base. However, in terms of abilities, trump cards and combat strength, Ning Fan would not lose to Han Yungue. This was also the source of his confidence to challenge the alliance meeting alone. With the help of the Black Cat, he would be able to fight against the second tribulation of the Eternal Era. Besides that, he had the Oblivion Current technique, the Four Emperors Arhat Pines and the Yin-Yang Four Directions seal. Among the second tribulation experts, Ning Fan would rarely have a match. Unless a third tribulation immortal king appears, he would not need to use any of his trump cards in this battle. With another flash of golden light, Ning Fan reappeared 1,000 zhang away. Without giving Han Yungue and the others a chance to attack him again, he turned his hand and summoned the Black Cat. Black Demon, fuse with me. Ning Fan already knew the name of the Black Cat. At this moment, he called it out without much thought. He summoned the Black Cat and fused with it. Immediately, his chi rose steadily and was not much weaker than Han Yungue. It was comparable to the second eternal tribulation. The Rain Bandit's aura has increased, reaching the level of the second eternal calamity. The pupils of Han Yungue, Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi shrunk. They could not tell what kind of secret technique Ning Fan had used to increase his cultivation base to such a terrifying extent. It was especially so for Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi. At this moment, there was a hint of fear in their eyes when they looked at Ning Fan. The second tribulation of eternity. This young man was already difficult to deal with during the first tribulation. If it's the second tribulation. I've given you guys a chance but you guys missed it. Ning Fan, whose cultivation base had increased tremendously, suddenly pressed his 5 fingers in Han Yungue's direction. Instantly, the shadow of the great river of oblivion appeared in the starry sky with an earth-shattering momentum. Han Yungue only felt his vision turning black. Then, he felt the world spinning. In the next moment, he was directly suppressed by Ning Fan under the great river of oblivion. If this river could suppress Old Wu who was in his eternal true body state, it could also suppress Han Yungue. What kind of ability is this? He actually trapped fellow Daoist Han with just a flip of his hand. Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi sucked in a cold breath. Judging from the strength of this ability, it seems like, it's actually an ancient grand cultivation realm divine ability. The Rain Bandit really can't be underestimated. He even knows such a powerful divine ability. His combat strength can't be estimated with common sense. This battle is not going well. Han Yungue was even more shocked. With his cultivation base, he actually could not get out from the bottom of the great river of oblivion. He was actually trapped at the bottom of the river by Ning Fan's ability. This river has such a strong restraining force. If Ning Fan traps another immortal venerable in the river, he might be able to get out of the river with the help of both of them. However, if he is alone, he won't be able to get out. All the cultivators of the alliance who were watching the battle felt that it was ridiculous. Suppressing a second tribulation immortal venerable with just a flip of his hand. Ning Fan is not an immortal king. How could he do such an unimaginable thing? However, it was really happening right before their eyes. After suppressing Han Yungue with a single palm strike, Ning Fan did not waste any time talking to Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi. He flipped his hand and took out two treasures, attacking them respectively. Wang Yangzi's trump card was a 12 Nirvana flying sword. Ning Fan directly used the Four Emperors Arhat Pine technique on him. 30 million flying swords whizzed out. The overwhelming number of flying swords gave people goosebumps. They directly covered half of the starry sky above the Pills sect. Not good. Wang Yangzi was so scared that his soul almost left his body. Among the 30 million flying swords, there were countless immortal swords. Moreover, there were 12 Nirvana flying swords among them. Those were the 12 Nirvana flying swords. Ning Fan actually used 9 of them at once. One should know that he had cultivated for tens of millions of years, but he only had 12 Nirvana flying sword. It was extremely dangerous to fight against 9 of them alone. Wang Yangzi held the 9 dragons' inheritance seizing sword in his hand and struggled bitterly in the rain of swords. He was still considered to be fine. At least, he could still hold on for a while. Sun Lin, on the other hand, was truly terrified. Before he could even see the incoming object clearly, he let out a muffled groan. His head was directly smashed by an object. His physical body was frozen into an ice sculpture the moment it was hit. His life force was severed, but he still maintained a terrified expression as he stood in the starry sky. It was a strange and terrifying scene. Only Sun Lin's primordial spirit managed to escape by a hair's breadth. After getting out of his physical body, his entire body was still trembling uncontrollably. A single strike had actually severed the life force of his physical body and sealed him in ice. What kind of magic treasure is this? It actually has such terrifying power. If his reaction was half a step slower, even his primordial spirit would certainly have been frozen to death. Only then did Sun Lin see clearly that what Ning Fan used was a cold and terrifying treasure seal. It vaguely emitted innate might, it's actually an innate magic treasure. What kind of joke is this? Someone actually used an innate magic treasure in a battle between immortal venerables. How am I going to fight this battle? How am I going to win? Just a 12 Nirvana pre-celestial magic treasure is already enough to determine the outcome of a battle between immortal venerables. Ning Fan actually has an innate magic treasure. Under the suppression of his cultivation base, it really isn't strange at all for his physical body to be destroyed in just a single strike. Run! I must run. Sun Lin was also a person who had experienced life and death for a long time. He instantly recognized the situation. Without saying anything else, he turned around and ran, no longer caring about the situation of the battlefield. Situation? Humph. What kind of situation is there to talk about? Fellow Taoist Han is suppressed. Fellow Taoist Wang is trapped by the 30 million flying swords. As for me, my physical body was destroyed by the innate treasure seal, so what if there are 3 immortal venerables guarding the alliance? I have lost this battle and I don't even have a chance to turn it around. If he runs away, he might still have the chance to take revenge on Ning Fan in this lifetime. If he doesn't run away, the next time the seal falls, it will be the time of his death. But could he run away? Een Seal Phoenix freezes the sky. As he chanted the incantation, 4 phoenix cries resounded across the starry sky. With that, the temperature of the world plummeted. After the second sound, snow swirled in the starry sky. After 3 sounds, Sun Lin's escaping light came to a halt. His escaping light was actually frozen, and he could no longer escape. He was overwhelmed with shock. With the yin and yang square seal as the center, a beam of blue light suddenly swept out. It was a beam of light formed by the power of the origin of the way of yin. It swept across the starry sky. Wherever the beam of light passed, the starry sky began to freeze. The range of the ice grew larger and larger. The cultivators of the alliance who were watching the battle were affected and turned into ice sculptures. Their vitality was severed and they were frozen to death. Retreat! Countless cultivators retreated in horror. They were lucky enough to escape the ice, but many of them were frozen to death. Sun Lin, who was at the center of the attack, felt a sense of impending disaster. He would die, he would die, he would die. He had never felt such a strong sense of crisis in his life. He could not withstand a single attack from this seal. However, he was unwilling to accept it. If he also had various heaven-defying abilities, innate magic treasures, if he also had. He was unwilling to lose to Ning Fan. He wanted to block the blue light, but his body had already turned stiff and frozen. His vitality was also disappearing at an extremely terrifying speed. Spare me. Sun Lin hid the resentment in his heart and wanted to beg for mercy from Ning Fan. Unfortunately, he could not even finish his last sentence of begging for mercy. His primordial spirit had already been frozen into an ice cube. The last trace of vitality had completely dissipated. Bang! The yin and yang square seal fell again, shattering the frozen primordial spirit into pieces. Sun Lin was dead. He was the first immortal venerate Ning Fan had killed since he came to the Pill sect. However, he was definitely not the last one. Sun Lin was actually killed by this kid with 2 seals. The scene made Wang Yangzi's heart skip a beat. Unlike Sun Lin, he knew a lot about innate magic treasures. Even if Ning Fan's innate treasure seal was not a mid-innate magic treasure, it was not far from it. Mid-innate treasure seal was a supreme treasure at most immortal emperors did not have the chance to possess. This kid had such a grade of magic treasure. Without an immortal king, who could suppress him? Chi. 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 The sound of flying swords piercing into flesh could be heard. It was Wang Yangzi trying to escape even if he was hit by the pine needle sword of the 4 emperors Arhat Pine. His cultivation base was slightly weaker than Sun Lin. Even Sun Lin was killed by the 2 seals. How could he resist this seal? At this moment, Wang Yangzi regretted his decision. He regretted why he was greedy for that little bit of benefit and got involved in this mess. He regretted. Why didn't he just agree to Ning Fan's request and become his slave to protect the 1,000-year sect? Bang! Unfortunately, before Wang Yangzi could escape from the encirclement of the flying swords, a ray of cold light fell on his head. A blood-curdling scream was heard. He was not as good as Sun Lin. Even his primordial spirit could not escape. Wang Yangzi was dead. I wonder how many seals you can withstand. Ning Fan looked at the great river expressionlessly. Suddenly, a ray of blood-red light burst out from the river. After paying a huge price, Han Yingguai managed to get out of the great river. However, his face was as pale as paper. Obviously, he had paid a huge price to get out of the great river. Han Yingguai had already sensed the death of Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi. How would he dare to fight Ning Fan now? As soon as he got out of the great river, he immediately spurted out a mouthful of blood essence and used the blood escape technique to escape. What responded to Han Yingguai was a ray of cold light. However, unlike Sun Lin and Wang Yangzi, Han Yingguai was not killed by the treasure seal even though he was extremely weak. He only spurted out a mouthful of blood and stopped in his tracks. After all, he was a second tribulation immortal venerable. Even if Ning Fan's magic treasure was powerful, he could not completely suppress him. Ning Fan. I admit that it was a mistake to join the alliance to kill you. It was a huge mistake. If you let me go, I promise not to go against you anymore. If you push me too far, believe it or not. I don't believe it. Ning Fan did not even bother to listen to Han Yingguai's threat. He activated the treasure seal and smashed it again. Han Yingguai tried to block it but he spurted out another mouthful of blood. The 3rd seal, the 4th seal, the 17th seal. Even someone as strong as Han Yingguai could only withstand 17 attacks from the yin-yang square seal and was on the verge of death. Han Yingguai's eyes were filled with madness. He would die either way. If he didn't kill Ning Fan, he would never be able to vent the hatred in his heart. Old water monster. You have promised me that if I give my life to you, you will promise me one thing. Is that still valid now? Han Yingguai suddenly let out a sinister smile. It was as if he was talking to himself or someone else. Of course. I never go back on my words. Suddenly, an old voice came from Han Yingguai's body. Fine. I will give you my life. I want you to kill this man. Cut him into 1,000 pieces. Han Yingguai shouted with a ferocious expression. This is easy. I want to drink your blood. Bang! Before Han Yingguai could finish his conversation with the strange voice, the yin-yang square seal had already smashed down for the 18th time. This time, Han Yingguai was finally killed. Unfortunately, Han Yingguai didn't complete the deal with the strange voice even after he died. This made Ning Fan very curious. What did Han Yingguai rely on that made him want to attack Ning Fan before his death? After scanning Han Yingguai's body with his spirit sense, Ning Fan discovered that there was a pristine jade bottle in Han Yingguai's dantian. It was a worn-out pristine jade bottle. The inside of the bottle was empty and there was nothing special about it. It seemed like, it was just a magical treasure that had lost all of its power. Could that voice be coming from this bottle? Ning Fan slightly frowned. He couldn't see anything special about this old bottle. It seemed like an ordinary bottle, but if it was an ordinary bottle, how could it be carefully kept in the dantian by an expert like Han Yingguai? There must be something strange about this bottle, damn it. My instinct was about to suck this man's blood, but it was ruined by you. Just you wait, if I can escape from this place. There was another sound coming from the bottle. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. He seemed to have understood something. This bottle seemed to have its own magical treasure space. However, because the bottle was already destroyed, the magical treasure space could no longer be opened. Something seemed to be trapped inside the bottle's space, forget it. This matter isn't important. Now that I've killed 3 immortal venerables, it's time to settle the score with the Pill sect. After Han Yingguai's death, the Anti-Ning alliance completely fell apart. Countless cultivators began to flee. Unfortunately, it was no different from wishful thinking for them to escape from Ning Fan with their speed. Since all of you have the intention to kill me, you should be prepared to be killed by me. None of you will be able to escape. Especially, you. Ning Fan's killing intent directly locked onto the sect master of the Pill sect. The karma of Ming Ke, the karma of the ancient heavenly court and the karma after he ascended to the eastern heaven. The karma that he wanted to settle with the Pill sect was definitely not small. Today, he must put an end to all of them. You can't kill me. You can't. Ha! I have already separated a trace of my medicine soul and merged it with the great wilderness cauldron. You can't kill me unless you can destroy this cauldron. Ha! It was the sect master of the Pill sect who was in despair. He behaved like a madman and desperately commanded the cultivators to surround and kill Ning Fan. Unfortunately, it was useless. No one would listen to his commands anymore. The entire alliance had already fallen apart. It was inevitable that it would be destroyed. An hour later, Ning Fan left Dan Xia planet. All the cultivators of the Pill sect were killed. Not a single person from the Anti-Ning alliance was left alive. A few days later, the Eastern Heaven was in an uproar. The Pill sect and the Anti-Ning alliance that had been famous for a while were actually wiped out by a single person. On Dan Xia planet, the spirit veins were all destroyed. It had already become an abandoned planet. Someone carved 5 large blood-red words on this planet with a Dao sword. The murderer is Ning Fan. It was said that as soon as the news of this incident spread out, countless leaders of the Eastern Heavens forces immediately rushed to the chaotic Devil Star region where the 1,000 Years sect was located. Even the Anti-Ning alliance that had 3 immortal venerables in the past was wiped out by Ning Fan. Who else in the eastern heaven would dare to offend this ominous star? There were quite a number of experts who were invited by the Anti-Ning alliance. Even though these people did not agree to join the alliance, who knew if Ning Fan would rather make things difficult for them and settle scores with them later on. In that case, it would be better for them to take the initiative to clarify the situation and apologize. Perhaps, they could even avoid a disaster. Those clans and sects that had disciples who joined the Anti-Ning alliance were even more miserable. They were afraid that Ning Fan would eliminate them completely. They wanted to apologize but they did not dare to do so, and they were also afraid. That was the real torture. Scary. It's really too scary. The 100,000 experts of the entire Anti-Ning alliance were actually wiped out by Rain Lord alone. That was a force that had 3 immortal venerables in the past. I heard that Rain Lord fought with them for 10 days and 10 nights before he succeeded. How do you know that it was 10 days and 10 nights? It didn't even take 10 days for the Pill sect to be annihilated. Besides, how do you know that Rain Lord went there alone? Maybe he brought a lot of people with him. I also heard that Rain Lord brought a few immortal venerables with him. I also heard that when Rain Lord left Dan Xia planet, he left with a frown on his face as if there was something that he had not completed. Where did you hear that from? About old Wang who was patrolling the city. Me too. Why is it different from what I heard? That old Wang couldn't be talking nonsense, right? Sigh, rumors are flying everywhere now. Who knows which one is true? Old Wang is probably just hearing rumors. Don't bother about him. No matter how big this matter gets, it has nothing to do with us. Drink. Today, it suddenly rained on the southern Dipper planet. It was an extremely inconspicuous low-grade cultivation planet in the eastern heaven. In terms of location, it was considered to be extremely remote. Therefore, very few second-step cultivators would pass by this planet. However, today, a young man in white robes passed by this planet. It had already been 7 days since the annihilation of the Anti-Ning alliance. Ning Fan did not immediately return to the Luo clan. Instead, he wandered aimlessly in the eastern heaven. He seemed to be wandering aimlessly, but in reality, he was always on guard. I wonder who is following me. That person is extremely strange. I can't even get close to him with my spirit sense. Once I get close to him, it will be directly sucked away by a force. I can't see him clearly. Ning Fan's figure landed on the southern Dipper planet. He could feel that the person who was following him was rapidly approaching him. Ever since I left the Dan Xia planet, I have been followed by this person. When I advance, he retreats. When I retreat, he advances. If I say that this person has malicious intent, it doesn't seem like it. If he doesn't have any malicious intent, I wonder why he would spend so much effort to follow me. Today, this person has begun to approach me. I suppose he wants to reveal his true identity to me. If that's the case, I'll see what his purpose is on this southern Dipper planet. Ning Fan walked into a small tavern in a cultivation city on the southern Dipper planet. He asked for a pot of wine and 2 wine cups from the owner. This southern Dipper planet was indeed remote. There were many cultivators who were talking about him, but none of them could recognize his appearance. He was clearly sitting in the tavern. Those people who were talking about him without restraint did not know his existence at all. That mysterious person was still getting closer and closer. He had already followed Ning Fan to the southern Dipper planet and was walking towards the tavern. Finally, the door curtain of the tavern was lifted again. A blue-clothed woman holding an umbrella walked in with a mischievous smile. Your Excellency, are you finally willing to show yourself? Ning Fan slowly raised his head and looked at the entrance of the tavern. His eyes were filled with coldness at first. However, when he saw the lady, he was stunned. This lady is, I'm Tantai Weiyu. Do you still remember me? That lady sat opposite Ning Fan as if they were very familiar with each other. She picked up the wine cup and poured herself a cup. Then, she took a sip and frowned. It's not mortal wine. It seems like there isn't any mortal wine on this planet. Ning Fan examined the lady carefully. Tantai Weiyu. This name was similar to a lady he met in the rain world. However, the appearance and chi of that Weiyu and this Weiyu were different. It seemed like they were not the same person. However, if they were not the same person, why did their attire look so similar? Ning Fan still had an impression of the Tao discussion that day. At first, it was just a vague impression. However, when he tried to recall it, the past gradually became clearer. You once said that there is life and death, true and false, karma and reincarnation in the wine. Do you still remember? The lady took out a pot of wine and poured herself a cup. Then, she asked Ning Fan. I have mortal wine here. It's the wine from my hometown. Do you want to drink it? Her eyes, however, were filled with bright confidence and a smile. It was as if she believed that Ning Fan would certainly drink it. Chapter 986. Young Master, may I ask what wine is? The word wine refers to the water of the hour of dusk. Dusk is the 10th of the earthly branches. It is the west, the season when rice is fully ripe. The water brewed from the grains is called wine. These are the words of scriptures. I want to hear your thoughts. Wine is what makes people drunk. Beauties, wealth, fame and fortune in the world are all things that can make people drunk. Which of them isn't wine? Young Master, may I ask what is drunkenness? Dying from wine is drunkenness. Being born from wine is sobriety. Between sobriety and drunkenness, there is the meaning of life and death. The scene of the wine discussion in the endless sea in the past slowly emerged in Ning Fan's mind. Is today's Weiyu the same person as the one in the past? If so, why are their auras and cultivation levels so different? The Tantai Weiyu that Ning Fan met in the past was just at the void fragmentation realm. Moreover, it was just a trace of her divine sense that descended to the lower world. Now, the Weiyu in front of him now was actually at the peak of the fifth eternal tribulation. She was actually a peak immortal king. In the past, Ning Fan could read her thoughts with the mind-reading technique. Today, however, he could not do that. The mind-reading technique did not work on her at all. It was not that Ning Fan's cultivation level was not high enough. Instead, it was because there was a terrifying suction force on her body that seemed to be able to devour all spirit sense and abilities that came close to her. The Weiyu who talked about wine with you in the past was a witchcraft gu clone that I left in the southern heaven. The Tantai clan of the southern heaven is a branch of my clan. I secretly sent my witchcraft gu clone out to play without the elders of the clan knowing about it. So, you must not tell anyone about this, alright? Tantai Weiyu took the initiative to explain as if she could see Ning Fan's confusion. Witchcraft gu clone. Ning Fan was slightly stunned. Yes. It's a witchcraft gu clone. If I don't send someone to play with me secretly, I will be bored to death. You might not be able to imagine it, but I have not stepped out of my house for 3 million years. Luckily, you scared the elders of my clan. Then, I took this opportunity to go out and play. Scared the elders of your clan? Ning Fan was stunned. My clan is in the southern clan. Even though my clan is here, my hometown is not. Tantai Weiyu sighed softly. Southern clan. Ning Fan's eyes slightly froze. Initially, he still had a lot of doubts in his heart, but after Weiyu mentioned the two words southern clan, he understood everything. The reason why this woman was following him was because of the matter regarding the southern tribe. If this woman was the same person as Weiyu, then she would definitely know his background. Is this woman here to expose my identity as a cultivator of the rain world? However, the fact that he was born in the rain world wasn't something that couldn't be justified. However, Ning Fan did not know why, but when he met Tantai Weiyu's cunning eyes, he actually had a strange feeling as if everything was exposed in front of her. Furthermore, if this woman truly had ill intentions, she wouldn't be the only one here. Those southern race old freaks wouldn't be merciful to him. You followed me for 7 days, but you didn't show yourself. Could it be that you just wanted to scare me? Ning Fan suddenly had a strange guess. You can't blame me for this. Who asked you to shatter third grandpa's quasi-sage clone and scare my grandpas so much that they were afraid that the southern tribe would provoke a great enemy? Hee, let me scare you as well. An ancient great cultivator. Zhao Jian. Elder sister almost believed you. How about it? Young Master Ning has been living in fear for the past 7 days. Tan Tai Weiyu put down her wine cup and smiled elegantly with her hand covering her mouth. Although she was noble and mature, she gave others a feeling that she was two-faced. It was as if chasing Ning Fan all over the starry sky was a very interesting thing. Ning Fan was speechless. During the past 7 days, he still thought that a peerless expert had his eyes on him. Even though it was not to the extent of being on tenterhooks, he still lived extremely cautiously as if he was facing a great enemy. However, it turned out that it was just a prank by this woman. Could it be that this woman finds it very interesting to scare me for 7 days? A two-faced world is really incomprehensible. Another matter made Ning Fan slightly absent-minded. Tan Tai Weiyu addressed herself as elder sister. This form of address made Ning Fan inadvertently think of Luo Yu. That woman also liked to call herself an elder sister. I wonder where that woman is now. Has she returned to Northern Heaven? After all, Northern Heaven is her hometown. Young Master Ning who has countless beauties, are you thinking of another woman? Tan Tai Weiyu smiled meaningfully with her hand covering her mouth. Ning Fan did not deny it. Then, he thought of another woman and asked. In the past, it was your witchcraft Gu clone that led Suqiu to ascend. Is Suqiu doing well now? Has she adapted to the life in the Purple Mansion Academy? This time, he was asking about Yin Suqiu. Junior sister is doing very well. According to the news from my witchcraft Gu clone, junior sister has already attained the void refinement realm. Tan Tai Weiyu paused for a moment and continued. Let's not talk about this anymore. You haven't answered me. Do you want to drink the wine from my hometown? The wine from my hometown, Ning Fan nodded and poured himself a cup. After tasting it, he was slightly stunned. It's not wine. It's actually water. However, it's not ordinary water, it doesn't have any special taste and it doesn't have any spiritual power. It can't even be considered as wine. However, for some reason, Ning Fan's heart directly felt peaceful after drinking this cup of water. Ning Fan drank the first cup. Then, he drank the second cup and the third cup. After 3 cups, he slowly closed his eyes. At this moment, he seemed to have forgotten the massacre that happened 7 days ago. He forgot about the sea of blood that he went through in these years. He forgot about the path of bones and blades. He forgot about his cultivation base and the cultivation world. He seemed to have regained the feeling when he was a mortal. He remembered the days when he treaded on the soil to go up the mountain to gather herbs when he was young. He remembered his hometown, Haining. He remembered that there was a river there. That river seemed to have the same taste. He seemed to have recalled Yu country and the snow in 7 Apricot City. The wine from this water seemed to be the melted snow water. No. This is not the real water. Brewing water into wine is a transformation. Brewing wine into water is a retroactive process. This is not water. Instead, it's water brewed from wine. If you insist on calling it wine, it would be clear wine. Good wine. Ning Fan slowly opened his eyes and gave a pertinent comment. His voice was not loud but it attracted the attention of many cultivators in the tavern. These low-grade cultivators gathered in the tavern were naturally people who loved wine. As soon as they heard that it was good wine, they would naturally pay attention to it. Unfortunately, they were destined to be disappointed. When they scanned Ning Fan's cup with their spirit sense, they realized that it was not wine but water. Is this person stupid? He obviously drank water but he said that it's good wine. Is there something wrong with his head? This is not even wine, okay? Let's not talk about this person anymore. In my opinion, my drunk immortal wine brewed from the 1,000 years cold dew is the real good wine. Nonsense. Compared to my 3,000 years old jade lady, your drunk immortal wine is not even worth a fart. My red heaven and earth, my purple jade nectar, the tavern was filled with arguments, instantly suppressing Ning Fan's previous cheers. There were even a few old drunkards who were experts in this field. They slapped the table and laughed loudly, treating Ning Fan's embarrassing incident of mistaking clear water as wine as a joke. Of course, these drunkards just casually laughed for a while and continued to drink their wine. They were too lazy to care about Ning Fan, who was a novice in the Tao of wine. Tan Tai Weiyu, on the other hand, closed her eyes silently. She could not hide the shock in her heart. Even though she let Ning Fan drink this wine, she did not expect him to understand it. After all, until today, there was no cultivator in the eastern heaven who could understand the magic of this clear water. Even she herself did not understand it. Ning Fan, however, understood it. The image of that big brother of hers seemed to appear in front of Tan Tai Weiyu's eyes again. Day after day, he stood at the entrance of Tan Tai Ferry and looked in the direction of the vast expanse path. From dawn to dusk, then to the eternal night, from spring to autumn, and then to midwinter, she could not forget the lonely expression on her big brother's face when he gulped down the clear water and wine. She could not forget the vicissitudes of his voice when he touched her little head and told her stories about the vast expanse path. My name is Ni Fan. I'm a cultivator of the vast expanse path, but I'm not. What I'm looking at is not the vast expanse path. Instead, I'm waiting for an encounter with the butterflies. It's not the 9 butterflies of the vast expanse path but the tiny me in the past. The vast expanse path is the home of the butterflies. The cultivators in this place worship the butterflies as gods because the 9 butterflies of the vast expanse path were born in this place. As for the ordinary butterflies, they are innumerable. The people of the world only know that only the 9 butterflies of the vast expanse path have ever flown out of the vast expanse path. If ordinary butterflies step on the vast expanse path, they will turn into ashes. Only a few people know that there was once an ordinary butterfly that flew out of the vast expanse path. On that day, when the sword master of the desolate ancient sword entered the vast expanse path to cleanse his sword, an extremely daring butterfly hid inside his body. It wasn't strong and could be considered as ordinary. However, it was precisely because of this ordinariness that it caught immortal Emperor Zido's eyes. He saw a glimmer of hope within the darkness. Thus, he showed mercy and agreed to the sword master of the desolate ancient sword and gave the butterfly a second life. When it entered the dream realm, it was still an ordinary butterfly. After reincarnating for many times, it was still an ordinary butterfly. Immortal Emperor Zido did not help the butterfly too much as he was afraid of damaging its darkness. The only time he interfered was to link the karma between the great emperor of ancient chaos and the butterfly. Unfortunately, the hope was still too small. Even before Immortal Emperor Zido died in battle, he did not have any hope for the butterfly. Instead, he had high hopes for the 10 ancient spirits. Unfortunately, the 10 ancient spirits failed to live up to Immortal Emperor Zido's expectations and the trust of billions of Immortal Emperor Zido. There's an old saying in our vast expanse path. A single flap of a butterfly's wings is enough to change a cycle of reincarnation. Although the butterfly's origin was ordinary, it did not have the bloodline of the ancient era and the support of its clan's fate. If it wasn't ruthless, it would have no future. No one would have thought that the path that the butterfly chose was one that no cultivator in the true world would dare to try. If it doesn't die, it will eventually return to the vast expanse path. I have to wait for it. Only then can my path be complete. I don't understand. I don't understand why Big Brother wants to wait for a butterfly. I don't understand. I don't understand why Big Brother likes to drink this wine. Tantai Weiyu could not see the benefits of this wine. She had always known that if her big brother liked something, it would be good. Today, she just wanted to share this wine with Ning Fan, who was her bosom friend. However, Ning Fan knew. Young master is indeed a person who understands wine. Since we have reunited today, allow me to be rude again. May I ask young master, what is wine? The first time Tantai Weiyu asked about the Tao of wine, Ning Fan's reply was about life and death, true and false, karma and reincarnation. However, it was different this time. The question was still the same. However, Tantai Weiyu was no longer asking about the Tao. It's just that the wine, she recalled everything that happened in the vast expanse path. She thought of her big brother. She wanted to understand the reason why her big brother loved to drink the wine. She wanted to understand the person that she could never understand. Her eyes were filled with sadness and bitterness. However, most of them were longing. I will never forget you even at the end of the world. Ning Fan frowned slightly. For some reason, he could not bear to see Tantai Weiyu sad. It was the same for the last time. It was the same for this time. He was not moved by this woman. Instead, he treated her like a junior, just like how Zhao Dai treated him. It was a strange feeling that a senior would feel sorry for a junior. It was a strange feeling as if they had known each other for countless years. However, Ning Fan was very sure that he had only met Tantai Weiyu twice in his life. If that was the case, the feeling of familiarity he had with her could only be explained as an illusion. Miss, are you asking about the wine? You really know what I want to ask. Tantai Weiyu's sadness lessened slightly and she nodded. Miss, you let me drink the wine first. Then, you asked me this question. I, Ning Fan, am naturally able to make some guesses. Ning Fan paused for a moment, reminiscing the taste of the wine. For some reason, he recalled the scene of the old man fishing. After pondering for a while, he continued. Last time, I saw life and death, true and false, karma and samsara in the wine. This time, I saw perfection. Ning Fan moved the wine pot and cup away. He stretched out his finger and used his magic power to draw a circle on the table. The circle glowed faintly. When I draw the next circle, there must be a starting point. And the starting point of the circle must be the ending point of the circle. This is perfection. From water to wine, what I seek is sublimation. From wine back to water, it is a trace. This trace is exactly walking out from the starting point. After circling around the circle, it will return to the starting point. Even though it is still at the starting point, the circle has already been formed. Therefore, this wine can no longer be considered as water. Because it has already reached perfection, it is naturally extraordinary. Life and death are a circle. From life to death, from death to life, and from death to life, this cycle forms a circle. True and false are perfection. From seeing what is true and what is not, to seeing what is true and what is true and what is true. Only after completing this circle can the Tao of true and void be perfected. Karma and karma are similarly perfection. Today, people fish while others fish me. The cycle of karma is also like a circle. Look at the cultivation planets. Why are they round? Look at the sun and the moon. Why are they round? Look at the human eyes. Why are they round? Look at the vast starry sky. Are there no circles? All the living beings in this world are pursuing perfection. The edges of a cobblestone will be polished by the tides. The will of a young man will be polished by the Tao of the world. This circle is the path recognized by heaven. It is the final destination of every living being in this world. However, there are also exceptions. In this world, there is also a type of cultivator who will not polish off his edges. Heaven's rebuke is gentle but he insists on showing it to be tough. Heaven's rebuke is round but he wants to go against it. It was the same as walking back to the end from the starting point. However, he would rather knock his head until it bled in the reincarnation cycle in order to preserve his edge and reveal his edge. It was not that he could not back down, it was just that he could not compromise. That was because his edge was his Tao. It was something even more important than his life. There is an ancient saying that the sky is round and the earth is square. The people of this world always pursue perfection but they have forgotten that there is still a path called square. The sky is round and the earth is square. Big Brother seemed to have said something similar in the past. Tantai Weiyu stared at Ning Fan blankly. For a moment, she actually had an illusion. It was as if she had returned to the past countless years. It was as if she had returned to the vast expanse path, to Tantai Do and to the days and nights where the rain had yet to fall. She recalled that day when Big Brother Ni Fan stood at the entrance of the road and let out a long sigh. He said that this Qingshui wine was the best wine to drink when one was homesick. However, it was not the best wine in the underground world. On that day, she had promised her big brother that she would brew the best wine in the underground world. However, she only made her big brother laugh. Young Master Ning, do you think this Qingshui wine is worthy of the title of the best wine in the world? Tantai Weiyu suddenly asked. The best wine in the world. When I drink this wine, I actually feel like I have returned home. It is like I have returned to my youth. This wine is worthy of being called the best wine in the world. Ning Fan answered. Then young Master Ning, do you think this wine is worthy of being called the best wine in the underground world? The best wine in the underground world? Ning Fan was stunned. It was his first time hearing such a term. However, when he thought about it, it was not surprising. If there was a world, there would also be an underground world. What was wrong with that? The world was yang while the underground world was yin. Roundness was recognized by the heavens. This Qingshui wine had a perfect wine intent. It was indeed worthy of being called the best wine in the world. However, if it wants to be called the best wine in the underground world, it cannot be round. It must be spicy and not plain. This wine is not worthy of being called the best wine in the underground world. Ning Fan answered. If young master wants to brew the best wine in the underground world, how do you plan to do it? Tantai Weiyu continued to ask. At this moment, she actually felt a little expectant. If Ning Fan knows how to brew it, will she be able to fulfill her promise to her big brother in the past and brew this wine? Even if her big brother is no longer around, if I brew it. Ning Fan thought of his father and the scene where his father used his blood to brew the wine in the past. He could not forget that spicy feeling until now. If you really want me to brew the best wine in the underground world, I will still brew it using the perfect method. However, I will add the blood and bones that I have killed along the way into the wine and use them as the edge of the wine. Only by using the blood and bones to brew the wine can one be drunk with flesh and blood. Then, it will be worthy of the title of the best wine in the underground world. The wine of the persistent cultivator should be spicy in the first place. It should walk on the path of righteousness. If roundness is yang, righteousness is yin and it is the ultimate yin. Even though they were talking about wine, Ning Fan seemed to have gained a great understanding. It was as if he had recognized his own path at this moment. The heaven exterminates the persistent cultivator. This path is blocked. It means that this path has always existed but it has already been blocked. This word, righteousness. Could it be the path of the persistent cultivator that the heaven wants to block? Other people cultivate the heaven path while the persistent cultivator cultivates. Could it be the earth path? As soon as this thought appeared, the way Ning Fan looked at the mountains and rivers of the southern Dipper star changed. Chapter 987. Mountains have edges, water has ripples. Everything in this world is pursuing perfection, but they also retain their nature and pursue their own differences. The reason why the Southern Dipper star was the Southern Dipper star and not the Eastern Dipper star or the Western Dipper star was that it retained its differences. The same goes for cultivation. For the sake of pursuing perfection, some cultivators would give up all the way. In the end, they would even lose their original heart and change their own Tao. For example, Taoist Mu Song changed his cultivation path to the ancient Buddha just to obtain the approval of the heavens. If he lost his original heart and changed his Tao, then so what if he succeeded? You are not yourself anymore. He was just an obedient member of the heavenly circle Great Tao. Obsession was different. No matter how far one walked on the Great Tao, it would still be him. The reason why I am Ning Fan and not Lin Fan or Zhao Fan is because I have my own Tao and I have my own unique edge. Crossing truth, abandoning emptiness, and shattering thoughts. Crossing truth is abandonment, emptiness is abandonment, and shattering is abandonment. Every step of the three realms of true immortality is the heavens smoothing out the edges and corners of a cultivator, all for the sake of the word, perfection, that the heavens have bestowed upon a cultivator. But could the heavens really smooth the edges and corners of the world? Ceaselessly abandoning one's cultivation. Is this the true perfection? Ning Fan was immersed in his own comprehension of the Tao, forgetting that he was discussing the Tao with Tan Tai Weiyu. He stood up slowly and walked to the window of the tavern with a blank look in his eyes. Through the window, he looked at the beautiful mountains and rivers of the Southern Dipper planet. What he was looking at was not the mountains and rivers, but the path of the three realms of true immortality hidden between the mountains and rivers. Like the ridges of the mountains, like the waves of the water, like the continuous undulating of the earth. No crossing, no parting, no shattering. Is this the only way to preserve one's edge on the true immortal path? Only by using one's own flesh and blood to brew wine can one be drunk with flesh and blood. Tan Tai Weiyu stared at Ning Fan in a daze. He seemed to have understood what Ning Fan was trying to say, but at the same time, he did not. In the past, she already could not understand him. She could not understand why a lowly cultivator of the rain world could have such a profound comprehension ability. Now, she was even more confused. She couldn't understand him, just like how she had never understood that big brother named Ni Fan. After a long time, Ning Fan finally came out from his state of enlightenment and returned to the table apologetically. I'm sorry. I was a little absent-minded. It doesn't matter. To be able to listen to young Master Ning's words is already a blessing. How could I dare to blame young Master? I wonder if young Master knows how to brew the number 1 underground wine. Wei Yu has an old friend who wants to drink this wine. Wei Yu wants this wine, but unfortunately, I don't know how to brew it. Facing Tan Tai Weiyu's expectant eyes, Ning Fan could only smile bitterly. I'm sorry, I can't brew this wine with my current strength. Regarding this number 1 underground wine, Ning Fan could only come up with an idea. Not to mention whether this wine-making theory was correct or not, it still needed to be verified. If he really wanted to brew it, he did not have the ability to do so. He knew a little about brewing wine. When he was running amok in the rain world, he brewed blood wine. When Big Dipper was pursuing the Tao, he also brewed wine. He brewed wine for many years. However, he knew his own limitations. In terms of winemaking ability, there were many in Eastern Sky who were better than him. Even if his theory was correct, with his winemaking ability, it would be very difficult for him to brew the first-ranked wine. Moreover, in order to brew the number 1 underground wine, one would not only need winemaking skills but also something of a higher level. Ning Fan poured a cup of clear water wine and gently shook it. He could see that this clear water wine had gone through the process of turning water into wine and wine back to water. However, if he really wanted to brew it, he knew that he did not have the ability to turn the wine back to water, let alone make the clear water wine have this feeling of perfection. Even if the one who brewed this clear water wine was not a third-step saint, he must be a cultivator who had truly reached the perfection realm. There was no such person in the eastern sky, the four heavens and the entire illusory world. Because even people like ancient Chaos and Undying Emperor could not achieve perfection in their entire lives, he could not brew the clear water wine nor could he brew the number one underground wine that he imagined. When he looked at the clear water wine again, his expression turned solemn. Where did this wine come from? In short, it was definitely not brewed by the cultivators of the illusory world. Tantai Weiyu said that this wine came from her hometown. Could it be that her hometown is not in the illusory world? Is it in the legendary three great true worlds? It's alright. Even if you can't brew it now, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to brew it in the future. I am very confident in you. I only have a small wish. It doesn't matter if it's 1,000 years or 10,000 years. If you brew this wine, can you give me some of it? I can wait no matter how long it takes. Tantai Weiyu pleaded. All right. If that day really comes, I will certainly give you some of the best underground wine that I brew for you to taste. As the price, can you answer a question of mine? What is it? If you can answer me, I won't hide it from you. Where is your hometown? As soon as Ning Fan said those words, Tantai Weiyu was stunned. Then, she covered her mouth and chuckled. Young master really has good eyesight. You even noticed this. Was he admitting that she was not a cultivator of the illusory world? However, I can't tell you. It's not that I don't want to tell you. It's just that I can't. Tantai Weiyu smiled bitterly. She could not explain to Ning Fan. There were some things that were forbidden in the true world. If she tells the people of the Yin world, a great disaster would befall them. For example, her hometown, the vast expanse path, was one of the forbidden things in the true world. The cultivators of the true world could talk about it but the people of the Yin world could not. I can't tell you, huh? Then forget it. Ning Fan did not force her to answer him. The things that couldn't be told must be related to the great secrets of heaven and earth. It might not be a good thing to force it. He had already experienced this before. The two of them drank some water and wine and talked about some other things. The topic of their conversation gradually shifted to the matter of the Southern clan. I don't know how young Master Ning killed third grandpa's clone. However, I can see young master's true cultivation level. It's definitely not like what the grandpas have guessed. Don't worry, young master. You and young master are considered as friends. I will not tell the elders of my family about young master's background. However, I also hope that young master will not do anything harmful to the Southern clan. Can young master guarantee this? Don't worry, Mississippi. I have always been a person who does not offend those who do not offend me. If the Southern clan does not offend me, I will naturally not offend them. All right. Young master is a straightforward person. I will also give young master a promise. I can help young master settle the matter of pretending to be a member of the Southern clan. Is that okay? All right. This matter ends here. Since the matter of the Southern clan had come to an end, Tantai Weiyu did not want to stay any longer. She bid farewell and left. She was not in a hurry to return to the Southern clan. Instead, she took advantage of the rare opportunity to leave the clan to have fun in the Eastern Heaven. Normally, after a person finishes his or her task, he or she should return to the Southern clan immediately so that the elders of the clan could feel at ease. However, Tantai Weiyu seemed to be purposely trying to make her grandpas afraid for a few more days. Could it be that watching those old geezers jumping up and down anxiously is a very interesting thing? A two-faced world is indeed incomprehensible. 7 days ago, Ning Fan massacred the anti-Ning alliance and obtained countless spoils of war. He even emptied the storage of the Pill sect. Unfortunately, because he sensed that someone was following him, he did not have the leisure to tidy up those spoils of war for the next 7 days. Now that Tantai Weiyu had left, he was no longer in a hurry to leave the Southern Dipper planet. Instead, he found a place where there was no one around and directly entered the profound Yin world. All the spoils of war had been kept in the profound West world. First of all, the corpses of the 3 ancient immortal venerables had already been unfrozen. Even though the top of their heads had been shattered by the Yang 4 right seal, they were still in good condition. Including the corpse of old ancestor De Yun, there were now 4 physical bodies for Earth Devil and Iron Crow to choose from. It should be enough for them to find a physical body with a high degree of compatibility. In terms of magic treasures, Ning Fan obtained 3 12th Nirvana magic treasures. One was the 9 Dragons' Inheritance Seizing Sword, the other was the 10 billion Yin Soul Streamer, and the last one was the Void Ming Sword. The first 2 were Wang Yangzi and Sun Lin's magic treasures, while the third one was Han Yungui's. The 3 magic treasures were only at the 12th Nirvana grade. To Ning Fan, who currently possessed the 4 Emperors Arhat Pine and the Yin Yang 4 right seal, they were considered dispensable items. Ning Fan had no use for the 9 Dragons' Inheritance Seizing Sword and the 10 billion Yin Soul Streamer. Thus, he could give them to Earth Devil and Iron Crow. After all, after the 2 of them were reincarnated, they would always need suitable magic treasures in order to display their combat power. As for his sworn brother, Lu Wan, he already had a 12th Nirvana magic treasure. Thus, there was no need for him to give these treasures to him. In the future, if he obtains a suitable innate Nirvana magic treasure, he could give them to his sworn brother. As for the Void Underworld sword, this sword actually contained a trace of the great Tao of Void. I can give it to the little demoness. I believe it will be very convenient for her to use. The remaining items were the Tao fruits that he obtained from killing people, the Tao crystals and low-grade magic treasures that were piled up like a mountain. Ning Fan did not attach much importance to these items. Most of them were given to the human cauldrons in the eastern profound Yin world as a reward. As for the remaining ones, he planned to bring them back to the Thousand Years sect. There were only 2 items that caught his attention during the battle in the Pill sect this time. The Great Wilderness Cauldron and that worn-out mutton fat jade bottle. The mutton fat jade bottle seemed to be sealing something. Unfortunately, Ning Fan had yet to repair it. Otherwise, he could open the space within the bottle and have a look. As for the Great Wilderness Cauldron, this cauldron was the only thing that Ning Fan was dissatisfied with during his trip to the Pill sect. On that day, the entire Pill sect was massacred. There were no survivors. After that, rumors spread all over the place. However, there were also a lot of rumors that were correct. Some of them spread a rumor saying that Ning Fan left the Dan Xia planet with a frown on his face that day. Ning Fan looked at the giant cauldron in front of him with a deep frown. This Great Wilderness Cauldron was an innate treasure cauldron. Inside the cauldron, there was even a semi-finished pill which was sealed within the pill's seal and was being nourished inside the cauldron. Ning Fan could not open this Great Wilderness Cauldron. Naturally, he could not see the appearance of the semi-finished pill. However, when he killed the sect master of the Pill sect, he had searched through his memories and knew what this pill was. Once the Pill sect was annihilated, this pill and this Great Wilderness Cauldron naturally fell into Ning Fan's hands. Unfortunately, this cauldron could not be opened and Ning Fan could not control it at all. It was because the sect master of the Pill sect was still alive. Bang! Ning Fan flipped his palm and slammed it heavily on the Great Wilderness Cauldron. All of a sudden, the entire cauldron emitted a boundless repulsive force. It was like the wrath of the starry sky. When it shook, it was like the collapse of a star. The force of the collapse actually forced him to take a few steps backwards. After that, a ferocious laughter came from the cauldron. Little Ning Fan, you can't kill me. Ha! I'm not dead yet. How can I die? This trace of my medicine soul has already fused with the Great Wilderness Cauldron. Unless you can destroy the Great Wilderness Cauldron, you can't kill me. Unfortunately, you also can't destroy the Great Wilderness Cauldron. This Great Wilderness Cauldron was obtained by accident when I entered the Supreme Pill sacred region in the past. Even though this cauldron is just a low-grade innate pill, the materials used to forge it are extremely heaven-defying. Have you heard of the immemorial star-defying? It was actually the sect master of the pill sect's voice. I'm not afraid to tell you. This great wilderness cauldron is forged from the immemorial star-defying. Moreover, it's a 9-star grade immemorial star-defying. Its sturdiness is such that even an immortal emperor who wields a mid-grade innate magic treasure would not be able to break it. What's even rarer is that this cauldron can reflect attacks. If you attack this cauldron forcefully, the stronger the attack, the stronger the rebound. If the rebound is strong enough, even if you are an ancient immortal venerate, you will still be severely injured. Since you can't kill me, why don't you let me go? Let me go. As long as you let me live, I promise with my life that I will never be your enemy in this lifetime. Besides, I can also give you the pill that is nourished in this cauldron. Without my permission, unless you can destroy this cauldron, you won't be able to take this pill away. Do you know what kind of pill this is? It's not the 9 transformations golden pill or the 9 transformations emperor pill. It's the 10 transformations ancestral pill. Unfortunately, I couldn't gather all the materials required for the pill formula even after spending all my life's efforts. This ancestral pill is still a semi-finished product. However, in terms of medicinal efficacy, it is already not any weaker than any emperor pill. I can give you the pill formula. With your capability, Rain Lord, you will certainly be able to gather them all. When that time comes, this will become a real ancestral pill. A pill that can make a sage jealous. Let me go. This pill belongs to you. The great wilderness cauldron also belongs to you. I don't understand. I don't understand. What kind of deep hatred do we have against each other? There are so many benefits here. Can't you just let me go? The sect master of the pill sect roared like a madman. Ning Fan had already heard such a roar when he took the great wilderness cauldron from the pill sect. It was only until he annihilated the pill sect and searched the sect master's memories that he found out that the sect master had schemed for his entire life just to concoct a 10th revolution ancestral pill. When the sect master of the pill sect was young, he had entered the depths of the supreme pill sacred region by mistake. There, he found the great wilderness cauldron and a scroll of pill formula. Finding an innate magic treasure was already a joyous occasion. What was even rarer was that there was an embryonic pill sealed inside the great wilderness cauldron. That was the semi-finished pill that the previous owner of the great wilderness cauldron had left inside the cauldron. According to the records of the pill formula, this pill was called the Bodhi Virtue pill. It had already taken its initial form. If it is completely formed, it would be a 10th revolution ancestral pill. After consuming it, one could draw out the Zhou Heaven Merit Force to protect their body and increase their chances of becoming a Sage Realm cultivator by 5%. Even if it was just a semi-finished pill, it could still help a quasi-Sage Realm cultivator comprehend the bottleneck of the next cultivation level. The sect master of the pill sect was also a proud and arrogant person. He was determined to concoct a 10th revolution ancestral pill during the Dharma ending era. He did not care about increasing his chances of becoming a Sage Realm by 5%. After all, if his cultivation base has yet to reach that stage, that 5% chance would be useless to him. That was not something he could ever hope for. Similarly, he did not care about comprehending the bottleneck of the quasi-Sage Realm. What he desired was only the art of pill refinement itself and the supreme glory of concocting a 10th revolution ancestral pill. Thus, he spent his entire life searching for the rare materials required by the pill formula to nourish this embryonic pill. Unfortunately, the materials required by the pill formula were all rare in the world. The sect master of the pill sect had only managed to obtain the 7 materials required by the pill formula after spending his entire life planning. There were still 5 materials that he had yet to obtain. This was also the reason why this pill had yet to advance to the 10th revolution ancestral pill. It was not even a 9 revolution emperor pill yet. The 5 materials that the sect master of the pill sect did not manage to obtain included the pill devil who possessed the bloodline of a ferocious demon and Ouyang Nuan's 5-colored medicine soul, to be honest, the sect master of the pill sect had spent his entire life just for the Tao of pill refinement. Ning Fan admired his persistence. Unfortunately, the sect master of the pill sect shouldn't have schemed against Ming Ke and Ouyang Nuan. Moreover, he shouldn't have made Ning Fan his enemy. If Ning Fan did not annihilate the pill sect, the sect master of the pill sect would have taken action against Ouyang Nuan sooner or later. Ning Fan only found out about this after searching through the sect master's memories. Since that's the case, I can't let you go. There's no point in shouting and begging for mercy, but I can let you die knowing the truth. Ning Fan waved his sleeve. Images immediately appeared in the sky. It was the scene where he entered the dark sparrow grave of the sinister sparrow sect when he was young and sowed karma with Ming Quebec. After that, it was the scene where he killed the rogue immortal of the pill sect, Chang Shan, in the ancient heavenly court, immemorial dark sparrow. This is the pill devil that I raised in the rain world. It's you. It's you. When the ancient heavenly court opened in the past, the pill devil that I raised went missing. So it's you. The sect master of the pill sect laughed maniacally. In the past, he was enraged because of this matter. However, he did not expect that it was actually Ning Fan's doing. If it wasn't for Ning Fan, he would have already obtained the 8th material on the pill formula. I don't care if you schemed against others, but you just had to scheme against Bright Sparrow and Ouyang Nuan. They are my people. Since you dared to touch them, you should be killed. This is the first crime. You put a bounty of 10 billion on me and almost caused me to die in the hands of a group of immortals. This is the second crime. You formed the Cultivation Alliance to kill me. This is the third crime. I will kill you with these 3 crimes. Then, you can die knowing why. Ning Fan said expressionlessly. It seems like you have to kill me no matter what. Unfortunately, you can't. Do you think you can break this cauldron? Do you think you are an immortal emperor? The sect master of the pill sect said crazily. You are hiding in this cauldron. I can't kill you if I don't break this cauldron. Honestly, my cultivation base isn't strong enough to break this cauldron. Even if I use my trump cards, the result would still be the same. Ning Fan had once obtained the immemorial star-defying devil armor that was forged from the 6 stars immemorial star-defying devil armor. It could reflect divine abilities of the void renunciation devil armor. It was extremely powerful. This cauldron was forged from the 9 stars immemorial star-defying devil armor. A 9 stars immemorial star-defying devil armor could reflect divine abilities of the quasi-saint realm, the primordial chi and the second jade slip of the Slayer Emperor. None of them would work. Their destructive power was not enough. What if I ask someone to break this cauldron? Ning Fan suddenly said. Ask someone. The sect master's heart skipped a beat. He had heard that Ning Fan had a deep relationship with the Slaughter Palace and the Godly Void Pavilion. If he asks an immortal emperor to help him, however, so what if he is an immortal emperor? In front of the 9 stars immemorial star-defying devil armor, even an immortal emperor might not be able to gain any advantage. Humph. Do you think it's so easy to ask an immortal emperor for help? Besides, even an immortal emperor might not be able to break the great wilderness cauldron. Instead, they might have to pay a heavy price because of the rebound force of this cauldron. They might even suffer serious injuries. I don't believe that there is an immortal emperor who would risk his life to help you. Bang! Ning Fan heavily slapped the great wilderness cauldron again. Then, he walked out of the profound Yin world together with the cauldron. The sect master of the pill sect let out a muffled groan. He could not even finish his sentence due to the pain. He had fused with the great wilderness cauldron. Although he would not die as long as the cauldron is not destroyed, he would still feel pain if Ning Fan attacks it because the cauldron had already become a part of his body. Senior Xiang Bozi seems to have returned to the Godly Void Pavilion. The person Ning Fan wanted to ask for help was naturally Xiang Bozi. Ordinary immortal emperors might not be able to break this cauldron, but what if a quasi-saint realm expert does it? Qi Ning Fan carried the giant cauldron on his shoulder and stepped on a golden rainbow. He directly turned into a ray of golden light and flew away from the Southern Dipper star. All the cultivators on the Southern Dipper star were shocked by that ray of light. Countless cultivators wanted to find out which expert had come to the Southern Dipper star. Unfortunately, Ning Fan had already left. It did not take too long for him to return to the godly void pavilion from the Southern Dipper star. When Ning Fan appeared outside the divine tomb, Xiang Bozi was mingling with the divine void realm disciples and sweeping the long stairs outside the tomb. As soon as they sensed Ning Fan's arrival, countless cultivators outside the divine tomb were in chaos. Ning Fan had annihilated the Anti-Ning Alliance 7 days ago and killed 3 venerated beings. His shocking achievements had once again deepened the fear that ordinary cultivators had for him. In the hearts of ordinary cultivators, Ning Fan had already become the synonym of a devil lord. As long as the immortal king realm doesn't show up, no one would be able to stop Ning Fan anymore. Even Han Yungue, who was at the second tribulation realm, was killed by Ning Fan. Even though they knew that Ning Fan did not come to the divine tomb to cause trouble, the group of cultivators still felt fearful. Xiang Bozi's expression also changed slightly. The cauldron that Ning Fan was carrying is not ordinary. It's actually a low-grade innate magic treasure. Where did this young man get his hands on an innate magic treasure? Bang! Ning Fan directly landed beside Xiang Bozi and threw the giant cauldron on the ground. Then, he cupped his fists at Xiang Bozi. Senior Xiang, I have an enemy hiding in this cauldron. Can you please help me break this cauldron? Hiss! Those cultivators who were bold enough to not go far away sucked in a cold breath when they heard Ning Fan's words. Those with good eyesight could tell that the cauldron that Ning Fan carried over was an innate magic treasure. Is Ning Fan crazy? He actually wants to ask old ancestor Xiang to help him break an innate magic treasure. Does he really need to be so wasteful? Breaking a cauldron just to kill an enemy who is hiding in it. Even an immortal emperor would not be so extravagant, right? Innate magic treasures are hard to come by, but Rain Lord is actually willing to break it. This is a cauldron forged by the immemorial Stardifying Cauldron. Besides, the grade of this Stardifying Cauldron is extremely high. Xiang Bozi reached out his hand and touched the great wilderness cauldron. Then, his expression changed greatly. It was actually a cauldron forged by the immemorial Stardifying Cauldron. The immemorial Stardifying Cauldron was not a material that could be found in the Dharma ending era. Even a quasi-saint realm expert would find it hard to obtain such a material for refining treasures. The rebounding force of this cauldron should not be underestimated. Even if it was him, he would have to use all of his strength to break this cauldron. Moreover, he might even suffer some injuries. Forget it. It's this young man's request anyway. If he gets injured, then so be it. Xiang Bozi nodded his head and agreed to Ning Fan's request. He was willing to help Ning Fan destroy the cauldron without even asking for the identity of the enemy in the cauldron. Ning Fan's heart felt warm. He owed Xiang Bozi a lot. Because of that, he did not even ask Xiang Bozi to help him when he was facing the witch god. However, this time, he really had no way to deal with the great wilderness cauldron. The immemorial Stardifying Cauldron was a material that even Shi Qi could not break. This time, he had no choice but to ask Xiang Bozi for help. He must kill the sect master of the pill sect no matter what, even if the great wilderness cauldron is broken. Besides, it might not be a bad thing for the cauldron to break. What use does he have for it? As for the materials used to forge the cauldron, Senior has helped me a lot. If the cauldron breaks, I can give all the materials used to forge the immemorial Stardifying Cauldron to Senior to refine your armor. I'll give those materials to Senior Xiang as repayment for all the help I've given him. Xiang Bozi became even more moved. The materials used to forge the cauldron were the immemorial Stardifying Cauldron, which even a quasi-saint realm expert would regard as a supreme treasure. Ning Fan really did not treat him as an outsider when he gave it to him so casually. This item is too precious. I can't accept it. You should keep it for your own use. For my own use? There was no need for it. The immemorial Startifying Cauldron was used to forge the Startifying Devil armor. It would be a waste to use it to forge other things. As for the Startifying Devil armor, Ning Fan already had a supreme treasure like the God Exterminating Shield. To him, the Startifying Devil armor was no longer a necessity. Senior, don't be in such a hurry to reject me. There's actually another item in this cauldron which is even more precious than the immemorial Startifying Cauldron. I also plan to give it to you. We'll talk about this later. Senior, please destroy this cauldron. There's another item that's even more precious than the immemorial Startifying Cauldron. Xiang Bozi did not believe it at first. However, when he used all his strength to destroy the Great Wilderness Cauldron, he became extremely excited. Even though he was slightly injured by the backlash from the Great Wilderness Cauldron, it was nothing compared to the effects of the pill. What kind of pill is this? Even though he did not know what this pill was, he could feel the massive medicinal power within it. It would be greatly beneficial to his advancement to the quasi-saint realm. It was not beneficial to his cultivation base, but it could help him comprehend the bottleneck of the second-level quasi-saint realm. This pill was useless to immortal venerables, immortal kings and immortal emperors. However, to any quasi-saint realm expert, it was probably a fatal temptation. This pill is too precious. This old man can't accept it. Ning Fan did not continue to exchange pleasantries with Xiang Bozi. After the cauldron was destroyed, he stretched out his hand and grabbed the strand of soul that was trying to escape to heaven and earth. After thanking Xiang Bozi for destroying the cauldron, he left the place. He left the half-finished Bodhi Virtue pill and the fragments of the Great Wilderness Cauldron to Xiang Bozi as a form of gratitude. What he wanted was just the last strand of soul of the sect master of the pill sect. Don't kill me. The sect master of the pill sect trembled. Not even in his dreams did he expect that Ning Fan could invite a quasi-saint realm expert to help him so easily. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous that he even established the Cultivation Alliance to kill Ning Fan. What kind of rallying power is that? Ning Fan could invite a quasi-saint realm expert to help him just by opening his mouth. This is the true terrifying rallying power. If there's a next life, don't make me your enemy. Ning Fan raised his hand and destroyed the last strand of soul of the sect master of the pill sect. In front of him, he recalled the little girl who always clamored to eat pill cakes. I think I said it wrongly. Pill cakes. So many years had passed but he still could not tell them apart. However, now that the sect master of the pill sect has been killed, it could be considered as avenging the little girl. I wonder if she's doing well in the Dark Sparrow clan. After Ning Fan left the Divine Tomb, he went to the main star of the Godly Void Pavilion and gave the Void Underworld sword to the little demoness. She was still in seclusion to comprehend the child relic to raise her cultivation level. Thus, Ning Fan just left the sword behind and left. He did not have the intention to disturb her cultivation. After that, Ning Fan returned to the Luo clan again. This time, he finally met the Battle King. The Battle King wanted to thank Ning Fan for saving his life but Ning Fan refused to accept it. The reason why he saved the Battle King was to fulfill his promise to Luo Shi. The Battle King did not owe him anything. Unfortunately, the Battle King was a stubborn person. The more you refuse, the more he wants to give it to you. I heard that little friend was bullied by the Dark Clan. If you need my help, you can just tell me. I will go through fire and water for you without hesitation. Ning Fan's words were spoken openly and without any hesitation. Ning Fan could only smile bitterly. Others would try their best to avoid the matters of the Dark Clan. However, the Battle King insisted on getting involved. If he really gets into a conflict with the Dark Clan in the future, this Battle King would probably not sit by and do nothing. Ning Fan owed the Battle King a favor. After the banquet, Ning Fan bid farewell to the cultivators of the Luo clan and LV Feng. He only brought Old Wu with him and returned to the Qianqiu sect. After all, LV Feng was a cultivator of the Godly Void Pavilion. Even though he was a guest elder of the Qianqiu sect, he could not stay there permanently. After Ning Fan annihilated the pill sect, he obtained a lot of good healing pills. He left a lot of them for LV Feng. In order to save the Battle King, LV Feng had yet to recover from his serious injuries. He would not be able to walk around the Eastern Heaven for 3 to 5 years. Old Wu also received a lot of pills from Ning Fan. He planned to return to the Qianqiu sect with Ning Fan to recuperate. He followed behind Ning Fan obediently and respectfully. Those who did not know him would really think that he was the most loyal servant in the world. On the way back to the Qianqiu sect. Master, do you think I've been doing well recently? Don't you think it's worth a reward? Wu Laoba's beady eyes rolled around as he acted cute. The corner of Ning Fan's mouth twitched. If the little loli was acting cute, he would still be willing to watch, but Old Wu was out of the question. Speak your mind. I want a reward. Ning Fan narrowed his eyes and asked, what reward do you want? Ever since I met Master, I don't know what happened to me, but my bad luck has been swept away. In the past, when I wanted to improve my cultivation, it was extremely bumpy, but in recent days, I've opened dozens of chi holes. I don't know if it's because Master is by my side. Oh, right, Master might not know, but the Chi Fate Aperture is a part of my Black Fate Sex cultivation technique. It belongs to my Master's master, who is also Grand Master. Get to the point. Ning Fan knitted his brows. Master, you smell so good. This smell is addictive. Elder Wu sniffed at Ning Fan's direction with an intoxicated expression. His chrysanthemum face bloomed. Ning Fan felt a chill run down his spine. Did this Old Wu's brain short-circuited? There should be a limit to his nonsense. Or could it be that this Old Wu has some unknown hobby? Could it be Long Yang? Ning Fan silently distanced himself from Old Wu by 1 zhang. Old Eighth Wu eagerly approached, sniffing everything. Ning Fan silently distanced himself from Old Wu by 10 zhang. Old Wu was still eagerly approaching, sniffing and continuing to smell. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. Old Wu shuddered and hurriedly retreated. He turned around and looked at Ning Fan blankly, not understanding why Ning Fan was looking at him with disgust. In his mind, he reflected on his actions more than 10 times. Not good. Why did this fiend suddenly dislike me? Could it be that I did something wrong? Old Wu slapped his forehead. Only now did he realize how ambiguous his words and actions were. It's over. Master has misunderstood me. This misunderstanding is too big. I, Wu Xiaoba, am the most normal man in this world. Even if I'm not normal, I can tease anyone but my master. Only a madman would tease a fiend who could destroy an alliance with just a word of disagreement. He was tempted by the smell of water elemental chi on Master's body. Master, you misunderstood me. I'm not talking about your fragrance. I'm talking about the fragrance of water elemental chi on your body. This little one is normal. Master, please believe this little one. Water elemental chi. Ning Fan was stunned. Yes. When Master returned to the Luo clan, I smelled it. This water elemental chi is so strong. Could it be that Master has obtained some water elemental supreme treasure? I've been wanting to ask you about it for a long time. However, the people of the Luo clan are too talkative. Old Wu was proficient in the Tao of Water. Therefore, his perception towards the Tao of Water was extremely sensitive. Besides, he was also good at treasure-searching abilities. There's no mistaking it. Master must have obtained some water elemental supreme treasure. Such a strong water elemental chi is definitely not something ordinary. If I can get it as a reward, Ning Fan pondered for a while. This time, he did not bring any special items with him after returning from the Pill sect. There were treasures that contained water elemental chi, but they were all low-grade magical treasures. They should not be enough to tempt old Wu, could it be? Ning Fan turned his hand and took out a shabby white jade bottle. Old Wu's eyes instantly widened. His breathing quickened as if he could not wait to swallow the bottle whole. You can feel the water elemental chi from this bottle. Ning Fan's eyes turned slightly serious. He was good at sensing, but he could not sense the water elemental chi from the bottle. However, old Wu could. I'm not wrong. It's actually this item. I've seen it in my master's treasure-searching notes. In the illusory world, this item can be ranked in the top 5 of the water elemental supreme treasures. Look, even the treasure-seeking turtle can sense it. Old Wu excitedly took out a little turtle from his sleeve. Its big eyes were adorable and it looked very similar to his eternal true body. At this moment, the little turtle was rolling on the ground excitedly in old Wu's palm. This kind of situation would only happen when they encountered something really good. What's a treasure-seeking turtle? Ning Fan looked at old Wu with a faint smile. This person seems to be hiding a lot of things. Master, this is not the main point. The main point is that this bottle is actually destroyed. How can it be destroyed? It must be repaired. However, there are too many things needed. It must be the essence of the sea eye that is more than 10 million years old and a lake blue jade that is more than 10 colors n. Old Wu rambled on and on about a lot of things, but Ning Fan did not recognize a lot of them. It was conceivable that the materials needed to repair this clean bottle must be rare and precious. Master, can you temporarily hand this bottle over to me? I guarantee that I will repair this bottle within 3 years and return it to you. Old Wu vowed solemnly. 3 years to repair this bottle? Ning Fan looked at old Wu with a meaningful look. This bottle was so badly damaged that in his opinion, there was almost no hope of repairing it. However, old Wu still had a way to repair it and he seemed to be extremely proficient in this field. What Ning Fan was more curious about was the origin of this bottle. It is ranked in the top 5 of the water elemental supreme treasures in the illusory world. It must not be an ordinary magic treasure, or perhaps there is something sealed in the bottle which made old Wu so excited. That's right. I've decided not to return to the 1,000 Years sect with Master. I want to look for the materials in the eastern heaven to repair this bottle. Old Wu's small eyes flashed. Look for materials. That was just a nice way to put it. Old Wu's process of looking for materials was to use the treasure-searching tortoise's ability to find a sect or force that had the materials. Then, he would sit in front of the sect's door and not leave until he gave it to him. Ning Fan looked at old Wu with a playful expression. After a while, he finally gave him the mutton fat jade bottle. What exactly is this bottle? Master, you'll know when I'm done fixing this. Old Wu laughed dryly and kept the bottle. Inwardly, he was praying that his master would never know about the origin of this bottle. At least, before I collect the items in the bottle, my master should not know about it. The item that was destroyed in battle by the Great Water Emperor of the 9 Ancestors and the 3rd ancestor of the ancient Devil clan. It was once coveted by Great Emperor Mo Luo. I didn't expect to see it here, thus, old Wu went to the bottle eagerly. Ning Fan, on the other hand, looked at the direction where old Wu left with a thoughtful expression. Based on his understanding of Brother Wu, this fellow had most likely discovered a great benefit from the purified bottle and wanted to hog it all for himself. Hee hee. You want to keep it for yourself, huh? I wonder if the item that old Wu wanted to keep for himself has anything to do with the ancient voice that had appeared in the bottle. Unfortunately, that voice only appeared once. After that, it never appeared again. Forget it. I'll wait until old Wu fixes the bottle in the future. Ning Fan, who would never admit that he had tampered with the bottle, smiled faintly. Then, he returned to the Thousand Years sect alone. Countless forces from the Thousand Years sect came to ask for forgiveness. However, Ning Fan was indifferent to all of them. All the mundane matters were handed over to Zhao Dai, and the other women to handle. He returned to the sect in a low-key manner and directly called for Earth Devil and Iron Crow. Then, he placed 4 immortal venerables' corpses in front of them. Choose. Which one do you want? Ning Fan said with a smile. He was never stingy towards his own people. Others could hardly get their hands on immortal venerables' corpses, but he gave them 4 of them at once. Both Earth Devil and Iron Crow's eyes were filled with excitement. Were the 2 of them finally able to recover their cultivation base and be resurrected? This chance to be reborn was given to them by Ning Fan. He gave them 4 immortal venerables' corpses as soon as he made his move. He broke into the alliance alone, annihilated the Pill sect and killed 3 immortal venerables. A person like him was more than enough to be their master. I have no way to repay you for saving my life. From today onwards, this life of mine belongs to you, master. From this life, I will live for you and die for you. The gratitude of saving their lives was greater than the heavens. The 2 of them knelt on the ground solemnly and bowed to Ning Fan. This bow was a man's promise that he would never change in this lifetime. From this life, I will live for you and die for you. Chapter 988. The Earth Demon and Iron Crow each chose a body and began their seclusion to possess it. The Iron Crow chose Wang Yangzi's body, while the Earth Demon chose Sun Lin's body. The standard for choosing a body for possession wasn't that the cultivation of the body's original owner was higher, but that the body's compatibility was also a factor. Thus, even though Han Yingui's cultivation was the highest, the 2 of them did not choose this body. In this case, things were much simpler. Ning Fan gave the 2 12th Nirvana magical treasures that he seized from Wang Yangzi and Sun Lin to each of them. Seizing someone else's body and rebirth would require a lot of time for seclusion. Moreover, it would also require the assistance of a lot of pills. Since Ning Fan had annihilated the Pill sect, he naturally would not be short of pills for the 2 of them. Thus, he gave 2Mo and Taya a lot of pills. The 2 of them thanked him profusely, but they did not express their gratitude. Only the physical bodies of Han Yingui and old ancestor De Yun were left. After pondering for a while, Ning Fan decided to refine their flesh and blood essences and gave them to Mu Weiliang and Zi Li. As a result, their cultivation bases improved significantly. Of course, it was still not enough for them to break through to the next cultivation level. With the help of the seed Sarira, Zi Li's cultivation had already reached the early stages of the true crossing realm, while Mu Weiliang's corporeal body was also comparable to the early stages of the true crossing realm. Now, even if she consumed the flesh and blood essence of an immortal venerable, it would not be enough to directly increase her cultivation by 1 level. After the 2 little girls finished eating the blood and flesh essence, they made a fuss about leaving the profound Yin world to play. This time, Ning Fan reluctantly agreed to their request. With these 2 little girls' lively personalities, it was impossible for them to stay in the profound Yin world and cultivate in peace. Innocence should not be locked in a cage. Besides, if they are locked in a cage, they would not be able to increase their comprehension of truth. One should know that their cultivation bases were just forcefully raised by Ning Fan. Their comprehension of truth was far from enough. Little butterfly, please. Just let me and little Zizi go out to play. We promise we won't get into trouble, okay? Little butterfly. You're the best, please, please. Little butterfly, all right. You can leave the profound Yin world, but you must stay in the Thousand-Year sect. If you leave the sect, you must not go too far without me following you. Otherwise, I will be worried. I agree, I agree. As long as you let us go out to play, we will listen to everything you say. We will be good. Smack. Mu Weiliang stood on her tiptoes and kissed Ning Fan on the lips, causing another ripple in Ning Fan's heart. It was as if the Samadhi void tribulation had arrived, but it disappeared in a flash. Zili also licked his feet and kissed the other side of Ning Fan's face, making him a little speechless. This Zili seemed to have grown bolder and even dared to take the initiative to kiss him. Every time Ning Fan came into contact with Mu Weiliang, he would have a feeling that the samsara void tribulation was about to befall him. After experiencing the samsara void tribulation for the first time, Ning Fan had some guesses. His first heart tribulation should be related to the word promise. It was highly possible that there were still 3 more heart tribulations. One of them should be related to Mu Weiliang. Even if it wasn't, one of them must be related to Mu Weiliang. Forget it, the cultivation base of the gods and demons have yet to reach the peak of the early stage of Shevu void. It is still too early to talk about the heart tribulation. Eventually, Ning Fan brought Mu Weiliang and Zili out of the profound Yin world. With Ning Fan's approval, the 2 ladies officially held the nominal title of elders in the Qianqiu sect and stayed there. Ning Fan was no longer worried that Zili's identity as the Sin Li would be exposed. He was no longer the same as before. He did not need to be as cautious as before. In the entire Eastern Heaven, there was no longer anyone who would foolishly clamor to go against him. Those below the Immortal King realm were extremely afraid of Ning Fan. None of them dared to provoke him. Those above the Immortal King realm were afraid of ancient chaos. They did not dare to get involved in this mess. The Dark Clan, on the other hand, remained silent from the beginning to the end, as if they did not know that Ning Fan had annihilated the anti-Ning alliance. From the beginning to the end, they did not do anything drastic to Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan knew that the reason why the Eastern Heavens cultivators were going against him was definitely because of the Dark Clan. However, as long as Great Emperor Ancient Chaos's Tao was not truly extinguished, the Dark Clan would not openly attack him and go against him. After all, if they really push Ancient Chaos too far, even the Dark Clan would not be able to bear the consequences. The karma of the Pill sect has been settled. However, there are still many things that I need to do. There were still 5 years before the opening of the Supreme Pill sacred region. The matter of Jiu Li becoming an adult could not be rushed. He decided to send Immortal Loli back to the Extreme Lightning Palace first. On the way, he would go to the Medicine sect to visit Ouyang Nuan. The evolution of Immortal Loli's 9 revolutions lightning body had already reached its end. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures of the lightning attribute that Ning Fan possessed were no longer enough to help her evolve. This was very dangerous. I should send Immortal Loli back to the Extreme Lightning Palace as soon as possible. As an Immortal Emperor Realm Lightning sect, the Extreme Lightning Palace certainly had enough lightning for Immortal Loli to devour and refine. She was originally the Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace. She should return to her own sect, the Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace. Ning Fan smiled bitterly. If he was not mistaken, this Immortal Loli was most likely the Palace Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace, White Emperor Lan Yunxian. During the evolution of the 9 revolutions lightning body, there is a very small possibility that she will temporarily lose her memories. However, once the evolution is over, her memories will be restored. If Immortal Loli regains her memories and regains her identity as White Emperor Lan Yunxian, what would happen? She was a dignified Immortal Emperor and the dignified Palace Lord of the Extreme Lightning Palace. Just because she lost her memories during the evolution of her lightning body, she had to call a junior father. This matter could be said to be absurd. If it were some Immortal Emperor realm old monsters who cared about their reputation, they might even kill Ning Fan in order to cover up this scandal. Ning Fan did not believe that Immortal Loli would be so heartless. However, he was not sure if Lan Yunxian would do that. Who could predict the temperament of an Immortal Emperor realm old monster? Ning Fan's feelings towards Immortal Loli were very complicated. He did not have any children in his life. However, Immortal Loli had called him father for many years like a daughter. If he really becomes enemies with Xian Xian because of this matter, even if they did not become enemies, Lan Yunxian who had regained her memories would not be able to be intimate with him freely anymore, right? Forget it. Let's talk about the future matters later. The evolution of Xian Xian's lightning body is the most important thing now. No matter how the matter develops, Ning Fan would send immortal Loli back. Let's talk about the future matters later. Xian Xian, can I send you home? Ning Fan found immortal Loli in the 1,000 Years sect and asked. Home? Where should I go? Isn't this my home? Father, do I have another home? Immortal Loli was confused. She did not understand what Ning Fan meant. Do you still remember where we met for the first time? Recalling the past in the 3,000 Lightning Realm, Ning Fan felt a little emotional. Why did he pick up such a little girl in the past? I don't remember. My memory is very vague. But recently, I always have some strange dreams. I dream about some strange people and strange things. I dreamt that someone called me Palace Lord and called me Lan Yunxian. Who is Lan Yunxian? My name is Xian Xian, not Lan Yunxian, isn't it? Father? Silly girl. Those are not strange dreams. They are most likely your memories from the past. Lan Yunxian, oh, Lan Yunxian. What should I, Ning Fan, do to you? The lightning power required for the evolution of your lightning body is too huge. Father doesn't have enough lightning power here. How about I bring you to a place with sufficient lightning power? Where to? Will Daddy go with me? If Father doesn't accompany me, I won't go anywhere. I want to stay here. This is my home with Father. I want to stay with Father for the rest of my life. I also want Father to bestow me a child relic. A child relic. I really can't, Ning Fan said helplessly. The reverse relic was an enchanting technique. Planting a child relic in her would mean that immortal Loli would become Ning Fan's one-sided human cauldron. Of course, a human cauldron with a child relic did not need to be plucked or have sex with her. That was why Ning Fan planted a child relic in Zhao Dai, just to improve her cultivation base. However, immortal Loli really could not plant a child relic in her. If Lan Yunxian regains her memories and finds out that Ning Fan planted a bewitching technique relic on her and she became his human cauldron, no one knew if she would be enraged. Ning Fan did not want to lose the last bit of affection he had with immortal Loli because of this matter. Let's go. I will send you home. When we get home, your lightning body will certainly complete the last step of evolution. Then, all right. I want to complete the last step of the evolution of my lightning body. I want to become stronger and help Father beat up the bad guys. Immortal Loli waved her fists angrily. She heard that a force called the Dark Race had bullied her father. What was the Dark Race? She did not know what they were. However, she could not allow them to bully her father. She wanted to become stronger. She wanted to destroy the Dark Race and avenge her father. Thus, as soon as Ning Fan returned to the 1,000 Years sect, he left with immortal Loli. However, he did not expect that immortal concubine Zhang Yu would come to him right after he left the 1,000 Years sect with an anxious look on her face. Unfortunately, her luck was not good. She just missed Ning Fan. Where did this little thief run off to this time? Immortal concubine Zhang Yu pushed open the door of Ning Fan's room. When she saw that the room was empty, her brows slightly knitted together. She asked around in the sect and a few disciples told her that the sect master, Ning Fan, had just left the sect with Elder Xian not long ago. As expected, this little thief really went out to have fun again. At first, I wanted to ask this little thief some questions. But now, it seems like I can only wait for him to come back. Immortal concubine Zhang Yu sighed at the miraculous fate. She had never thought that she would be able to meet Mu Weiliang again in this lifetime, the daughter of the Heaven Emperor who had been destroyed along with the ancient heavenly court. Only God knew how shocked she was when she saw Mu Weiliang who was alive and kicking after she finished dealing with the affairs of the 1,000 Years sect. Eldest princess, why are you here? Haven't you already? What eldest princess? I'm not the eldest princess. I'm Mu Whale Yang, the wife of Little Butterfly. What little butterfly? Could it be that you've lost your memory, eldest princess? Don't you remember what happened in the ancient heavenly court? I don't remember. I don't know what you're talking about. Immortal concubine Zhang Yu felt slightly bitter. She was not a good person. She had even betrayed her own sect for personal reasons. However, it did not mean that she did not have her own principles and persistence. In the past, she owed the ancient heavenly court a favor. Thus, when the ancient heavenly court was in danger, she stood up and joined the ranks to protect the ancient heavenly court as an outsider. Because of that, she almost died. Fortunately, she was lucky enough to escape with a trace of her remnant soul. On that day, the ancient heavenly court was destroyed and all the cultivators of the heavenly court perished. She did not expect that she would be able to see Mu Whale Yang again after countless years, the eldest princess who was once cherished by the Heaven Emperor. Eldest princess, your mother and I are old friends. The Heaven Empress saved me before. Who is the Heaven Empress? I seem to know her but I don't remember. It seems very sad. Don't be sad. The ancient heavenly court is gone. You still have me. If you don't mind, I, Zhang Yu, will be your relative. I will protect you on behalf of the Heaven Empress. No need, no need. I have Little Butterfly to protect me. I don't need your protection. Thank you. Eldest princess, may I ask? Who is Little Butterfly? Why are you here? Little Butterfly is Ning Fan. He is my husband. Wherever he is, I will be there. What a joke. Since when did that little thief Ning Fan become the husband of the eldest princess of the heavenly court? Immortal concubine Zhang Yu decided to have a good talk with Ning Fan. Firstly, she wanted to ask Ning Fan why Mu Whale Yang was here. She had asked Mu Whale Yang many times but Mu Whale Yang's memory was incomplete and she could not answer clearly. Secondly, she wanted to protest to Ning Fan and tactfully express that she did not agree with the marriage between the eldest princess and Ning Fan. Thirdly, she wanted to make a request to Ning Fan to rebuild the ancient heavenly court. It would be fine if Mu Whale Yang was dead. Now that Mu Whale Yang was still alive, she had the obligation to help Mu Whale Yang rebuild the ancient heavenly court. There were too many things she wanted to talk to Ning Fan about. Unfortunately, Ning Fan had already left the Qianqiu sect. Forget it. Let's wait for the little thief to come back before we talk about these things. I have to look after the eldest princess. After her rebirth, her personality seems to be a little too lively. Thus, immortal concubine Zhang Yu eagerly went to find Mu Whale Yang and became her caretaker for free. She must take good care of the eldest princess. She owed the Heaven Empress such a huge favor. How could she not return it? That was not her style. Over the next few days, the cultivation planets around the 1,000-year sect were ravaged by the two little girls, Mu Whale Yang and Zi Li. This was something that Ning Fan, who had already left, did not know. The first day. Let's go, little ZZ. Butterfly gave us permission to go out and play. Let's go play. Where to? Let's go to the Seed Eater Star. I heard that a ferocious creature has appeared there. It has the cultivation of a life immortal and is killing low-level cultivators everywhere. Let's go there and help the weak. Okay, let's go together. As a result, the seed-eating star was in chaos while the life-immortal ferocious creature was chopped into dumpling fillings by the two girls. Zhang Yu immortal concubine followed behind secretly. When the two girls were done playing, she forcefully brought the two girls back to the 1,000-year sect. The next day. Liang, where are we going today? Let's go to Giant Rock Star. I heard that there's a stone monster there with a life immortal realm cultivation base. Let's go there and help the weak. Okay. Thus, the Giant Rock Star was in chaos as the two ladies chopped the stone monsters into pieces. After that, Zhang Yu, a mortal concubine, took some time to bring the two girls back to the 1,000-year sect. The third day. Liang, where are we going today? Han City Star. As a result, the Han City Star was in chaos. After that, Zhang Yu, a mortal concubine, ran there in a ray of golden light and brought the two girls away. The fourth day. Little ZZ, let's go to Lin Song Star and help the weak. Okay. Zhang Yu, a mortal concubine, rubbed her forehead. This Mu Weiliang who had been reborn was really hard to manage. Where did the dignified and virtuous eldest princess go? Forget it. I have to manage her even if it's hard. I have to take good care of the daughter of the Heaven Empress. Thus, after the two girls had their fun, she appeared again and brought them back, the 5th day, the 6th day, the 7th day, with Zhang Yu, a mortal concubine, watching over them. Mu Weiliang and Zili did not cause too much trouble. On the contrary, the two girls often helped the weak by eliminating the ferocious creatures on the nearby cultivation planets. They had made quite a name for themselves in the nearby starry sky. However, this was a story for another time. On the day when Ning Fan left the 1,000-year sect, he brought the immortal Loli back to the Supreme Lightning Palace. On the way, he passed by the medicine sect and wanted to see Ouyang Nuan. Unfortunately, she seemed to be in a very important seclusion which was related to the advancement of her 5-colored medicine soul. As such, Ning Fan did not disturb her cultivation. He just chatted with the sect master of the medicine sect, Wei Wuji, and left some Dao fruits and magic treasures for Ouyang Nuan. After all, Ouyang Nuan would come out of seclusion when the Supreme Pill Sacred Region opens. At that time, they would naturally meet each other. There was no need for him to be in a hurry. It did not take him too much time to reach the 3,000 Thunder Realm. 100 years ago, Ning Fan had come to the 3,000 Thunder Realm. Now that he was here again, he felt that things were still the same but people had changed. As soon as she arrived at the 3,000 Thunder Realm, the immortal Loli felt her consciousness blurring. She vaguely felt that this place was very familiar. However, when she tried to recall it, she could not recall anything. Instead, she felt a splitting headache. Father, it hurts. There are many scenes in my head. I can't remember them. The more I think about them, the more it hurts, the immortal Loli said coquettishly and rubbed herself against Ning Fan's chest. Ning Fan stroked her small head and sighed. Then, don't think about them anymore. Even though Ning Fan did not deliberately release his aura force when he entered the 3,000 Thunder Realm, he still shocked countless cultivators. This person's traveling light is really fast. Even though his aura force is concealed, it vaguely gives people a feeling that he is someone who can run amok throughout the ages. Could it be that, this person is actually an immortal venerated throughout the ages? I've never seen him before. I have just come out of seclusion after 10,000 years. In my memory, there doesn't seem to be this immortal venerated in the Eastern Heaven. Old man Chen, this is because you are ill-informed. You might not have seen this person before but you definitely have heard of his devil name. He is the one who annihilated the Anti-Ning Alliance. What? It's the Rain Lord. He is the Rain Immortal Monarch, Ning Fan. Not good. The Rain Lord has come to the 3,000 Thunder Realm. Be on alert. The entire realm is on alert. At this moment, the horn of the highest level of alert resounded across the 3,000 realms of the 3,000 Thunder Realm. It was all because the great devil lord of the Eastern Heaven, Ning Fan, had come. Who knew why Ning Fan had come? They had to be on guard. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.